I start what's it called? I had to start a YouTube stream. He's also streaming right now. I'll probably talk about what happened yesterday. If he said something interesting about it, let me know. We can start today looking at what FD says about it. Also, I have to apparently republish my VOD from yesterday because for some reason Twitch auto unpublishes it. I don't know why. Let me see my settings. Oh, always publish VODs is off.
Learned years ago is usually not worth it to engage.
I'm curious.
However, at a certain point, it's kind of impossible not to. You know what I'm saying? At a certain point, it's impossible not to engage. And it ends up being
I appreciate your commentary, Wes. That's not what it was.
To continue to ignore things. Especially once, you know, certain lines have already been crossed. And so some lines were crossed yesterday on Noah Sampson's stream. How come I can't?
So if you don't know, I covered this on my second channel yesterday, which is why you should watch my second channel. Subscribe to my second channel. Apparently gotten too big now. So now I'm all on my third channel, which I'm telling nobody about. Little quiet. I mean, yeah, I turned it off because he's not talking right now. But I'm just saying that, like, if you don't know what happened, you can see what happened there.
For the sake of just
already found it. Hashtag doubt.
Trying to make sure I hit everything I want to hit. All right, so.
Oh, we see the file from yesterday. You can. It's literally up.
Nope, wrong one.
Sean
all right, so
the Black says
this,
she's my African princess.
Hello_web just subscribe.
Unique looking figure to my right on the screen is Bad Empanada. Bad Empanada is a C tier, you know, bread tube online left creator on YouTube. Maybe he's B tier now. I don't know. He's got how many subscribers does he have? He's got a decent amount at this point. He's got 208 subscribers. I think that's good enough to get you to B tier. B minus tier. I'm not sure. And he is technically a video essayist, technically, but if you look at his channel, his actual like video essay channel.
Acknowledging the figure is a big mistake. To be fair, I won't even put that on Hasan. It was everybody around Hasan's fault for that. Not to like defend Hasan too much here, right? But like, it was literally like everybody around Hasan blazing Bad Empanada until he was forced to acknowledge him. Like the chat, other creators and stuff like that. They're like, you must watch this new Bad Empanada video. You see Bad Empanada dropped this new video about Ethan Klein? Please watch this new Bad Empanada video, right? Consistently. And so Hasan didn't really have any choice but to engage, especially when he went on Noah Sampson's stream and like Noah Sampson brought on Bad Empanada to like debate Hasan, which, you know, Hasan did for like a good cause for like the stream, right? For a fundraiser. So that's kind of how that happened.
To left tube or bread tube were not things that the general audience was interested in. And so he could not build an audience doing that. So at a certain point, he
So
becomes.
did something to FD and it's gross.
I think
No, I
I've
think
described
what
him.
happened here is different than that. What happened here, I don't think Noah Samson did this maliciously to FD signifier, right? I think Noah had an idea that like Bad Empanada would be a little bit inflammatory, but not like completely insane. Right? Probably because of how the like debate with Hasan happened last year. Right? But that was planned. That was planned and agreed upon by both parties, right, beforehand, as a specific fundraising goal, or like not a goal, but a specific fundraising like time slot. It was, yes, it was not like we're gonna ambush Hasan with Bad Empanada. It was for this fundraiser, Hasan and Bad Empanada will like debate on stream because that's inflammatory and that will raise money.
And then after that, you start seeing changes. We have, reacting to Destiny, and then he starts his Vosh era. And Vosh, much like him, he's a reply guy. That makes sense, yeah. Vosh, much like him, both of them
Invited him
kind
on
of
because they were
thrive
really
on
addressing him on stream
react
indirectly.
reply guy
How was it wrong
content.
or gross
They
to
asked
do that
some
to FD when
analysis
they're
on
discussing
it.
him themselves?
Empanada has had
Hasan orbiting
good
American left
analysis.
on
I've
series and it
watched his
shows.
videos.
It's gross to do that to FD because it's not something that was talked about beforehand. You know what I mean? If Bad Empanada wanted to like address FD, there's a way to do that. That's not like we're gonna ambush this specific segment of the stream in order to, debate FD signifier, right? And that's how like normal people who are sociable actually do, But Bad Empanada instead sent people like you to brigade the stream, right? And basically essentially derail the entire fundraiser to make it about, Bad Empanada's grievances. Right? Because Bad Empanada could have been like, hey, I didn't like being discussed on the stream without having a chance to respond, right? And then like Noah can be like, okay, you can have your own section to discuss your own conversation. But instead it was like, you must bring me on to debate this Zionist. How dare you not bring me on? Right? You're a bad fake leftist or whatever. And then it devolved into like, blood sport. Right? But like FD signifier is a human person and he's well within his right to talk about his critiques and beef with other people in the space. You know what I mean? Like you're not entitled to like, to defend yourself or whatever in the way that Bad Empanada thinks he is, because like FD signifier is just as much a part of that beef as Bad Empanada was, right? And it goes to show that like even after where Bad Empanada did get this chance to speak, he came back later on demanding to come back on again, making it about himself. There's a point about derailing the fundraiser with Noah and FD literally talking about Bad Empanada before he was mentioned by anyone in the chat, because they have a right to. Because FD signifier, right, was engaged with Bad Empanada, and they have a right to talk about whatever they want to talk about on the fundraiser, right? This is FD signifier's like section. They can talk about whatever they want to there. You know what I mean? This is a section specifically like, hey, we're gonna bring on FD signifier, and they can talk about whatever they want to. They can talk about cheesecake if they wanted to. The point of the fundraiser is this is FD signifier's section to bring his audience in, right, and help like promote the fundraiser to his audience. That's like he can talk about Bad Empanada if he wants to. He could talk about the sky being purple or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Right? In the same way, if Bad Empanada wants to come on and talk about FD signifier, he can also do that. That's true. Chat was bringing up Bad Empanada before FD addressed it. Oh well, I didn't see that. I skipped past all of that stuff, right? But even if they didn't, like he has a right to do so. And Bad Empanada also has a right to do so on his own section. What Bad Empanada did is he commandeered this specific section, right, of the stream, right, because he needed to address his grievances with FD signifier specifically. So if you acknowledge that, you can also acknowledge that they were literally misinterpreting Bad Empanada's criticism of FD. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not about him. That's my point, is that it's not about him. It's not. If he wanted his critiques to be known, he has an entire 2 YouTube channels where he can do that. Right? His point here was to clout farm. That's what it was. It's about to be annoying. No, chatter's banned because I'm not dealing with Bad Empanada stands today. Right. My take and my point is very simple: is that if Bad Empanada wanted to air out his grievances with FD Signifier, which he could have done, right, in a meaningful way, this was not a productive way to do it. It just wasn't. Right. And the way that he conducted himself on the call kind of demonstrated that, because he came off rip, frame 1, right, popping off. Which kind of shows and demonstrates that he doesn't really care about anything. You know what I mean?
I start noticing how Bad Empanada is talking about Jewish people. And while I understand the analysis he's trying to present, it strikes me as problematic. It strikes me as inflammatory. It's the same inflammatory and unprincipled, undisciplined language and behavior he exhibits during.
I don't think Bad Empanada ever said hello, how are you, to be entirely fair.
With Vosh, is also how he moves on Twitter. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're definitely entering into weirdo territory. Specifically, let me actually close this out so I don't pull up anything I don't want a bunch of people to see. There's a bunch of things I could show, because I am not the first person to say this or experience this around him. He's been transphobic in the past. He's been anti-indigenous in the past. He's been racist to Mexicans in the past. Let me see. So specifically is this. So I don't even remember the context of this, to be honest, right? But someone, Black Red Guard, for whatever reason, got into a Bad Empanada a while ago, and then Bad Empanada, because this is just how he behaves, has become a reply guy to Black Red Guard on Twitter. And so,
this is why I've always stood on this. You should just block. Even if you like Bad Empanada as a YouTube essayist or whatever, you should always just block him on Twitter. He doesn't say anything like particularly useful on Twitter. That's not where his like useful content is. Right? On Twitter, is he banned on Twitter? I mean, he keeps making new accounts. Right? This account here is already banned. He's already made, like, I think 2 accounts since this account. He keeps having to make new accounts and he keeps getting banned. But he'll just prop up with like another account, and then like you just gotta block it. Frame 1. As soon as you see it, you're like, all right, block.
Recognize that there is a willful desire, and this is something I've known forever, because this is, again, what debate bros have kind of always been. The desire to be edgy and to be free to behave in certain ways. Leftists of this ilk will use whatever the issue du jour is to get away with that behavior. So
this is true. And it extends to people like Kyle, who use like the R slur in order to like attack JD Vance and Erica Kirk or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same conversation, right? It's dark wokeness, right? It's using the tactics that you know are reprehensible, but for you, in a way that you think is like permissible because it's happening to the bad people, right? It's like that.
Not useful for Palestinian liberation. 2, just kind of gross and weird and indicative of how Black people are treated in the left by some leftists on a regular basis. So I guess let me just say this now. Zog is literally a Nazi term. That is a term that is born Zog is a term that is born from the Turner Diaries, right? Praxis, stick around YouTube, Praxis. No, Praxis, this occurred, this is all before the conversation. Or I say like, this is leading up to that conversation with Dr. Ball and deculturation. So the term Zog means Zionist occupied government, and it literally comes from the Turner Diaries. The Turner Diaries is the neo-Nazi Bible. The Turner Diaries is loved by, insert your favorite neo-Nazis here. The Turner Diaries is loved by Timothy McVeigh. You can find the Turner Diaries at the center of numerous white supremacist terrorist attacks throughout American history since it came into creation, right? It was written by William Luther Pierce, and William Luther Pierce where's hold on, am I getting his name right? Yeah, okay. And William Luther Pierce is a disciple of George Rockwell, right? George Rockwell, who you may know was the this is a useful picture to show who George Rockwell is, right? George Rockwell, I talked about him in the Charlie Kirk video, is, the American Fuhrer is the name of the book that was written after.
I don't know other C words you're referring to.
Nazis. So what you see here with Bad Empanada is him literally just using neo-Nazi terminology against a black person. Just unironically, that is what, and literally the use of that term, Zog slave, is explicitly tied to black people, as these anti-Semitic tropes and conspiracy theories tend to imply. The reason why neo-Nazis hate the Jews is because the Jews utilize black people and other people of color to dilute the white race, prop us up into positions of power to destroy, to create white genocide. So this is not like, he may be using it ironically, but he's using it genuinely in the same way that a neo-Nazi would use it against a black person. Okay? That is genuine, just neo-Nazi behavior. Yes, this is an actual example of anti-blackness on the left, which this is why I kind of have to engage with it. All right. So me and other black leftists are talking about this behind the scenes, and we're observing this issue, right? At some point,
I'm not involved in this conversation chat. I'm not in the group chats. Stop lying. Why would I lie about that?
At some point, Lil Bill makes a video.
Did I see West Type?
At some point, Lil Bill makes a video on Jewish supremacy. And the point of that video was to illustrate this specific problem, that there are white leftists online and in our spaces that are using the genuine movement for Palestinian liberation, the genuine problem of the genocide in Gaza, to allow them to act like edgelords in public, to allow them to use slurs but wokely, to allow them to use hate speech in its original state and form against people that would be victims of said hate
Here's some
speech
guts, yes.
without with impunity. And it's like that's the gist of what that video is trying to get across. Now, I did not watch the video initially. And after watching the video and having multiple other conversations, me and Bill had talked, and I explained to him that there were things wrong with the video. The way that Bill, because this is Bill's barbershop, Bill did not sit here and do like an essay and research on the topic. He went off the dome, and coming off the dome in his car, things didn't come out right. And that is why eventually there's responses, not just from Bad Empanada, not just from Deculturation, but me, Little Bill, and Deculturation.
Focus on
me, Little Bill, and Deculturation end up having a conversation, right? So Mix 95, did you time him out? Because I'm not gonna I don't do the chat back and forth. That's not what I do. So I'm gonna let you time out. But I very clearly just specifically said that he's using a genuine Nazi dog whistle against a black person in the same way that a neo-Nazi would. So we're not talking about Jewish people in this regard. We're talking about people on the left using genuine hate speech toward black people in the same way that a neo-Nazi would, using a neo-Nazi term in the same way. If you don't understand that, go away. Because you're not here genuinely to engage. All right? This is your one and only warning. Okay. So this conversation, and this brings me into another issue that I'm actually writing about. This conversation could have been different. Lil Bill ended up having to leave in and out a bunch of times. And it went all over the place. But I do want to point out that at this point in time, I am still learning and trying to understand the concept of Jewish supremacy better. Because the way I had engaged with Zionism up until this point was explicitly, not exclusively, but explicitly as a white supremacist framework. And that's because Zionism is European. It's European in character. And white supremacy is the move du jour for neocolonial projects, always has been, probably always will be. Europe has always colonized on the basis of white supremacy, right? And so my understanding up until this point was that the best explanation, the best way to explain Zionism to normal people was to frame it within the context of white supremacy. And that's also because at this time, I'm also seeing this anti-Semitism but woke nonsense from people like Bad Empanada. All right? Now, after this, I was corrected. After this, I read more, learned more, and I'm like, okay, I get why it's important to also couch Jewish supremacy within the framework of Zionism, because that is written into law in Israel. And most importantly, in terms of like the way I seek to behave online, that is how Palestinian scholars and freedom fighters, for lack of a better way of putting it, have couched their analysis. And so it is not.
I saw a Mike tweet earlier today that called Bad Empanada a liberal. Bad Empanada is not a liberal. Right? He's a racist, but like he's like ostensibly like even want to call him a leftist, call him like he's an anti-first worldist, right? Anti-American, right? Like communist. He's not a liberal. Right? He's reactionary. He's not a liberal. I don't think he's a like whether or not he's a Maoist or a Marxist or like a socialist or a communist, like I don't think it necessarily particularly matters, right? But like I think the fact that he is a leftist and his prominence came from people on the left is kind of important to his like, to the analysis of like how we got here in the first place. You know? He has liberal tendencies like being reactionary. Well, being reactionary is not a liberal tendency. It's a tendency of any power superstructure, right? Whether that's liberalism or conservatism or white supremacy or Zionism, right? Anything that is, has adherence to the status quo, right, will be reactionary as people push to upend the status quo. You know what I mean? And so he's reactionary in like from that front. You know, he's typical white leftist who is racist. Yeah, but I think him being a leftist is important, right? I think oftentimes people try to remove somebody's like leftist cards when they do something bad. It's kind of like when people like revoke like Candace Owens' black card. Like she's not black. Like unfortunately, Candace Owens is black, and no matter how much we want to remove her black card, she is a black person, and we got to eat and handle that. You know what I mean? We have our own grifters here, right? But it's important to note that her blackness is important to the entire conversation, right? Even if she sucks and it's bad, because we need to address why and how black people end up at that position. The same way with Bad Empanada, we have to address how like leftists or whatever end up being what Bad Empanada is. But Bad Empanada has never changed though. He's never been inconsistent, which is the funny part. He's always been consistent on like this, which is just like he just throws stones, all the stones. I think his leftism is serious though because he does these things. I mean, it doesn't matter whether or not it's serious. He's a leftist, right? I can say that about like, all leftists. I can point to the bigotry of leftist men and be like, "You're not a real leftist because you hold misogynistic beliefs, right?" You could point to the bigotry of like leftist transphobes and be like, "You're not a real leftist because you're transphobic," right? Point to the bigotry of like white leftists and be like, "You're not a leftist because you're racist," right? And that's all well and good, but then nobody's a leftist. And then we can never criticize the leftists because leftists have to be perfect, you know? That's the actual like technical purity test, is that everything that it's bad is not leftism. We haven't reached real leftism yet. It's just like, you know, these people are leftists, right? And they gain their prominence from being leftists, and we have to hold that. We have to eat that, you know? We do. And once we address that specifically, we can understand that for the next time that this happens, when a leftist does it the next time, right? We can address that. Right? We can address that head on. Right? But if we position Bad Empanada as not being, you know, or not having grown prominence on the left, when Bad Empanada 2.0 happens, it's surprise Pikachu face. Because it's happening now with Bad Empanada. Bad Empanada is not, you know, Bad Empanada 1.0. He's Ethan Klein 2.0. Right? And people said the same thing about Ethan Klein. Well, technically speaking, Ethan Klein actually wasn't a like leftist, right? But Ethan Klein was positioned as leftist, right? He was positioned as a leftist. But when Ethan Klein started to mess up, people were like, "Oh, he's not a leftist, he's a liberal," which is true. But like, people only did that once he started to you know, do the bad stuff that we criticize, right? But he was being positioned as a leftist, and so now with Bad Empanada, right? It's the same sort of deal, right? It's the same conversation, and like at a certain point, like leftists have to hold that we are, you know, as an entity capable of doing bad. Is Kyle next one in line? It depends on what you mean by next one in line, right? Bad Empanada is only getting trashed here because he's attacking somebody that is popular, right? But he was doing this to other people as well. You know what I mean? He was doing this to like smaller creators. He was doing this to like smaller leftist creators online and on Twitter, right? He's going back and forth with like Dead Domain, on Twitter right now. Like, but like it only manifests as being a problem because FT Signifier has prominence and is a popular leftist creator, right? And that's where it's seen as being an issue, right? But for Kyle is like when he's saying slurs, like, you know, saying the R word, like who's really standing up for like disabled people? You know what I mean? He's like weaponizing anti-Indian like sentiment, like make his points or whatever. Like who's really standing up to that, right? It's only become a problem when somebody goes after somebody more popular than them, when they punch up, right? And until Kyle Flinsky actually punches up, nobody's gonna really care about it, right? If Kyle comes out and like starts attacking Hasan, then people are like, okay, that's too far. You know what I mean? But when he's, you know, using slurs consistently, right, and being reactionary in that way, it's meaningless to a lot of these people. You know, Girl attacks popular leftist creators all the time, but I don't see many people calling them a liberal. He use slurs. Kyle, 100%. I mean, I've covered it consistently. And he's kind of got away with that because nobody ever tried to hold his feet to the fire. The same way that nobody ever tried to hold Bad Empanada's feet to the fire when he was behaving like this. Right? But I can say this all the time, consistently, is that if we try to hold these people, right, accountable for their behavior before it gets to this point, right, you're called a wrecker. Right? Don't let you say anything bad about Bad Empanada 2 years ago. If you said anything bad about Bad Empanada 2 years ago, people called you a wrecker. People say you were wrecking the movement. People say that you were getting in the way of the movement, right? People say you're doing a purity test, right? You're purity testing too much. What is up with this leftist purity test? Not everybody's going to be perfect. To put Kyle and Bad Empanada in the same basket. I mean, I don't think Kyle is like as bad or as insane as Bad Empanada is, right? But it's the same sort of like using reactionary tendencies, right, against people that they deem as bad. And that's fine so long as their barometer for who is bad doesn't change. You know? Like it's not there's nothing stopping Kyle from using slurs against leftists if he so chose to. Because we know that he doesn't care about using slurs. That's my point.
And it creates cognitive dissonance in them. The comments in this video are also a mess of people who are really mad that me and Bill didn't know the thing. And maybe we should have. Maybe we shouldn't have not known the thing publicly as creators. That's a valid critique. But it is wild. All right, so sadly at this point, by mentioning Bad Empanada's name, I have now become a target. And what Bad Empanada loves to do more than anything is put larger creators on his thumbnails.
This is true. Which is why I guess have escaped it for so long.
Is equivalent to FD streams. He posts way more than me. He has 1,300 videos on this channel, with the oldest being from 6 years ago. And it's important to point out that Bad Empanada lives in Argentina, but his businesses are situated either in Australia or America. I don't know. He does not get paid in Argentina dollars. So he gets to enjoy a huge foreign exchange benefit on his behalf, which means that he gets to make, he has way less views and probably makes way less money than me as a creator. But because he's in a third world, a developing nation, that exchange is significant. He's probably living, I've heard him say, I can live off 500 USD. Right? So having this slop channel where he just posts kind of weird stuff, even if he's only getting 20,000, 18,000, 27,000, 12,000 on his videos, that's plenty. Especially if you're posting 5-6 times a week. Okay. So as you can see, this video right here. So actually, we go down here. His first video responding to Bill is his most watched video in 1, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to stop counting. I'm going to stop counting. And when but I'm just going to keep going. In a second, I'm just going to stop going. This is hurting my eyes. All this scrolling. So I'm going to stop here. This one, 5 months ago, has 55,000 views. I don't want to sort by popular because he has over 1,000 videos. So it's like, I don't know how much it is. To be fair,
he did miss this one. This one has, the one right there had 140,000 views, technically. So
there's a video with Hasan, was it Emma Vigeland and some other, Mom Don, etc. So 5 months ago, he had a video with 75,000 views. So his video so you look at all these videos before we get to Bill. Kind of implies the value of Bill's face on this thumbnail. Right? Bill's face on the thumbnail, 1 month ago, 60,000 views. All right. Then we go up, he puts me and Bill on the thumbnail, 80,000 views. Then he puts me on the thumbnail again, 36,000 views. Then puts me on the thumbnail again, 61,000.
I do want to spin the block on this. And I also want to discuss the subpoena. And apparently shots fired at the White House or whatever. But I don't want to also miss anything. How long this discussion is going to happen.
So, and as you can see, his most watched views are all related, most watched videos are pretty much all related to drama. Bunch of Hasan, this guy, Mukhtar, ContraPoints, Ethan Klein, Vosh, Mike from PA, so on and so forth. So
listen, I'm even surprised that FTC Party even knew who like Mutahar was, honestly. That's surprising to me. That even recognized Mutahar's face.
There's a clear incentive for him to constantly do content like this. And that's who he's shaped himself as in the last 4 or 5 years. Like he wasn't getting traction at all until he started beefing with Vosh and Destiny. And that kind of created his persona. And he's leaned into that persona, as I said at the beginning of the video, pretty much this entire time. So, going back to this like thing that creators like Bad Empanada are doing with the genocide in Palestine, they are using it as a get out of canceled free card, a get out of criticism free card to just attack people to just punch left.
But there's an election 2026 song? I don't believe that. Piedmont Raging Grannies? All you fascists bound to lose? What? Okay, she's kind of cooking with that though. Okay, we'll get to this later.
Really now, like, I realized this is the beginning of the year when I started arguing with y'all, not y'all in particular, but when I started arguing with my chat about how Candace Owens has a point and you have to hand it to Candace Owens, I realized, oh shit, we failed. We failed to normalize and frontline a disciplined critique on the issue. And not just we, obviously the Democratic Party is the main culprit. Like, I want to be clear on that. But I was like, oh shit. we didn't do our jobs. If this is something I'm seeing, and I was also seeing that in real life, right? So because of my the fact that I haven't made talking about the genocide in Palestine the core of my content for the last 3 years, and because I did not have a good grasp of the concept of Jewish supremacy and said that white supremacy was more important, that was enough for Bad Empanada to start targeting me and calling me a Zionist, a liberal Zionist. And so the first thing he does is this video, where he says where he says that we responded to him on Jewish supremacy. I'm not going to go through this whole video, but I want to point out two like glaring things that'll be important later.
These giants, buddy.
To kind of like show you the failures and gaps in his analysis and like his knowledge base in general.
I was like, if you want to watch this from FD's chat, so you can actually chat in the chat, you know, I don't mind that.
In our conversation, we start talking about because I'm trying to understand Dr. Ball. Bill made the comment that Jews are still an oppressed group in America, and Dr. Ball didn't agree with that, and neither did Deculturation. I was kind of in the middle, and I'm still kind of in the middle, right? Because, well, you can go watch the video, and I don't have the solid take at this point. Or a take I want to put on record at this point, because it's hard for me to make sense of with the knowledge base I have. I need to do more research. But we were talking about the Irish, and the reason we're talking about the Irish is that historically, while the Irish people have been phenotypically white for a long time, or legally white for a long time, if you know anything about how racism has worked in America, you know that the Irish have not been fully white, but for like 50, 60 years. The Irish became fully white and were fully adopted into whiteness in America after the New Deal, along with the Italians and Germans and some Jews. Before then, the Irish were considered white, but were very much second-class citizens among white people. Right? So Jimmy Gatsby, I just want to address this. It does sound weird to say that Jewish people are not.
Yes, but I don't think that the people are saying that it's the same, you know?
And I agree with you there, because I understand, we recognize that fascists and right-wing entities build their movements around anti-Semitism. However, Dr. Ball does point out that particular pain point is also a byproduct of Jewish identity, of a lot of Jewish people in America trying to subterfuge whiteness into Jewish identity historically and for a long time. And so, like, it's kind of incomparable on a lot of levels, and more nuance is needed. But this is not what that video is about. But I do want to acknowledge, I understand, and because that concept of Jewish people not being oppressed does align with right-wing and neo-Nazi ideology, it's natural for you to be like, and it takes people with principles and discipline and care to explain that to a normal audience, or you end up, hold up. I think
it's also important to note is that, like, I think it's important to distinguish, like, the reason for why people say that Jewish people are no longer oppressed in this country is a very important marker for what they believe. Because there are Nazis who think that Jewish people are not oppressed because they're like, oh, Jews own the banking system and they run the government. So how can they be oppressed if they are the government? You know what I mean? Right? And that is anti-Semitism. And it is also not true. It's a falsehood, right? Which Bad Empanada acknowledged in their conversation. And so I think, like, there is a understandable, like, also I want to hear this part.
The edutators that we are should be explaining this concept in a way that helps you work through the complexities of how that works. Or you could be an edgelord and think it's funny to call black people Nazi Nazi terms, unironically. Iggy Dust, I don't know about US versus Lemon Grove, but I do know, I talked about it in one of my videos, and about how an Asian man once sued the American government to be considered white, and they were like, nah, you not white, bruh. We know what white is, it ain't you. It's almost funny.
I missed it.
So about a month ago, he starts his campaign explicitly against me. This is a short. Once again, if you look at his shorts, well, you know what? He's had good shorts. Well, he posts shorts. He posts shorts sporadically. He doesn't.
How are my shorts doing? Hold on. Someone let me know when he gets back to the conversation. Oh well, I'm keeping this open. Where'd it go? Oh no, I lost it. Where's my YouTube channel at? Oh. Man, YouTube changed the way that they are, the way that they did their stuff. My short has 2,000 views. Oh, jump scare for the peanut. I do want to get to Hasan being subpoenaed. Where'd it go?
Zionist is a Nazi dog whistle, right? So, somebody kick piss real for me, so I want you to hear what I actually said. I want you to hear what I actually said.
Israel got clapped.
As they've materialized for content and for clout, that has been alarming, and it's been something I personally stayed away from, in part because as Bill saw, like, there's so many people waiting in the weeds to, like, label you a Zionist and a Jewish supremacist.
To their point that Jewish folks don't suffer from systemic racism by the state, but rather from other forms of racism, such as bigotry. Is it true? It depends. That's what the conversation is. That's what the difference between like the way that leftists address and engage with like anti-Semitism, and then like the Nazis, right? Because again, as I said earlier, not what Nazis say that like Jewish people can't be oppressed because like Jews run the government or whatever, so they can't do oppression or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's anti-Semitism, and also not true, right? Like the government is full of like white Anglo-Saxon Christian Protestants, like that's who is like in the levels of power in the government, and they do also have an investment in the state of Israel, right? For a number of different reasons, whether or not it's for like religious fanatical reasons, or whether or not it's for like foreign policy material reasons, right? They have an investment in the state of Israel. And so there's that. And then there's a conversation about like the systemic oppression that Jewish people face in this country, and how like that shifts as whiteness grows and expands, right? And this is a conversation about the way that whiteness engages with and changes the way that different identities change, engage with society, right? And so this way, bringing up like Irish and Jewish people, Irish and Italian people, is such a good, what's the word? A good analogy, right? And you also see it a little bit with like the way that Asians are currently being absorbed into whiteness. Like there was a district in Washington who got rid of the Asian classifier, right, in their grading system, like in their demographic system, just so that the white, grading like level went up. You know what I mean? Like there's a school in Washington State that removed Asian as a racial qualifier and absorbed Asians into the branch of whiteness, just so that they don't have to have white people competing against Asian people in their district and in their like reports, right? And that's the way that whiteness exists. It exists as a way to shift and change different identities to serve its purpose, right? And so people who do and have faced structural oppression, right, will see that oppression diminished, lessened, or shifted in order to serve whiteness, right? Like Asian people are still oppressed in this country, right? But white people will use like Asian people to get rid of affirmative action, right? And we'll use like black people as like the villain in this dynamic, right? And it's like that dynamic, you know. So oppression can change and it can shift in that way. And people are saying that it's similar for that way, for the way it pertains to like Jewish people, you know.
And what they'll do, and you'll see this when we get to the actual debate, is what they'll do is they'll say, why should we care? Why can't we use slurs? There's a genocide going on. Why can't you use Nazi hate speech? There's a genocide going on.
Even with this, like legally they are not oppressed. Massive pro-Israel lobby benefits Jews gaining land and wealth. They're going along with it, as many standards did before them. But even with this, like, oppression is not just on a legal basis. You know what I mean? That's not just like the laws that are written on the books. There are laws that are still underscoring systemic racism, right? But like this is what the conservatives say. They're like, oh, you know, the Voting Rights Act have passed, and there are no like real laws on paper that say that black people are inherently inferior to white people, right? You also have to look at, you know, the system as its outcomes, right? And how it, hey, like that's me. As its outcomes, and its system and its outcomes as it relates to like what oppression is. Right. So I think it's a little bit more of a nuanced conversation than just like what the laws say, what this says on the books. You know? When they say argument about slurs. I mean, the answer to that is just like these people just want to say slurs, right? I said this before when it came to Todd Klinsky. I want to see if I can find that VOD that I had. But like they just like these people just want to say slurs and they want to find a reason to say slurs, a way that it's permissible for them to say slurs. You know? Something like that. And so, I'll keep this up. This is funny. Let me see. I don't know if I have me saying this. That's why I didn't any clippers. Any clippers. I said it was insane what happened. It depends on what you mean by what happened. You have Hasan being subpoenaed. You have shooting at the White House. Where's it at? Where's it at, bro? Well, it's crazy that like, well, also, first of all, yes, that's right. I do show up in today's news on Twitter. This is called Motion Chat. AT&T drops peanut mascot after profile picture backlash, and it's me. Oh, wait, hold on. Motion. I don't know who this guy is. Sorry. Anyway.
Children's cartoon movies for potential anti-Semitic dog whistles in the same way that Jonathan Greenblatt would. I want to take a look at this and see.
So, me analyzing children's movies as a man with children, by the way. As a man with children, by the way, who has to have genuine conversations with my kids about the media they consume. You know.
Oh my goodness, bro. They want the ballroom. And we'll get this as well later on. Trump used Saturday's shooting outside the White House to repeat demands for his big ballroom be added to his executive mansion. How would the ballroom have changed this, though? This is okay. This is a false flag. False flag to get the ballroom. I saw a really funny tweet that I have to show you. That was hilarious. Where'd it go? Did I save it? I did save it. It's this tweet. The song guys, snake fest becoming trying to back then. Whoa, hold on. Let's not do all that. They Trump every time his ratings go down.
FIB special agent, I got this covered.
Detain this man.
Fuck you, I should detain you. I just took a bullet for my country.
Yeah, true. True. It's so funny.
Because this is what it's really about. What it's really about for Bad Empanada is that he thinks he should be in a position that he's not in. He thinks he shouldn't be in the B- tier of creators. He does not like that.
His third or fourth channel, I believe. His third or fourth stream clip channel, who is paying to edit clips for him.
You know?
And I got to tell you, he's
Am I C tier? Please tell me that I'm C tier. I think I'm a solidly like a C tier leftist creator.
deep shit is completely fucking wrong. If you want an idea, I'm a YouTuber. I know how much, he's significantly bigger than me. I'd say he gets around 10 times my views. I'd say in the ballpark of 50K a month is what he's making off YouTube alone, not counting Patreon. 50,000.
No, I'm not getting 50K a month off YouTube. I'm not. I wish. I've had 50K months before. It's usually when I have like the Kendrick Drake video, the Diddy video, the Tyler Perry video were close. But no, I don't make 50K a month.
To let you know, solely off his YouTube ventures, it's free channels actually. When you count free channels, editors producing content for him, I'd say gross 8
he's still here
to 90,000 a month easily.
All right.
Legitimate question. What do you like?
Act like they're in the.
And you can tell people skip this because they were like, all right, I
want to be clear though, because
like it's funny if you look. I don't know if you can see on the screen.
I make 50K a month, chat. You wanna know how much I've made in a single month off of creating content? Actually, I'll let you guess. I'll tell you if you're correct. I'm a very transparent person. I can show you the Twitch thing as well.
And I want you to see what he does at the beginning of my video.
Be clear though, because like people, I don't even know what to call it, but like just normal people get on my nerves. There's people in the comments mad. Legitimate question. What do you like? Is there anything that is safe for us to consume based on your standards? I'm about to go watch Undisputed again for the 5th time. What is Undisputed? Is the movie Undisputed? Or is he talking about Unstoppable, the Dave Chappelle?
Yeah, I want to see when he gets into his argument that it's
I love that almost nobody gave an actual real guess, which is kind of funny.
So he skips the entire couching and framework through which I analyze the film. He skips the entire preamble that I give here. So let's listen to me what I actually said.
10K 1 month last
year. Some interesting attempts at social commentary. And the last one had interesting attempts at social commentary. Was he talking about Unstoppable, the Dave Chappelle joint? Oh,
most months I'm like around like 4K.
People, there was like somebody else that
said,
"Hey,
it's me."
I don't understand how people can watch things without being critical of them on some level, but I clearly gave the movie a 6 out of 10. People really hate to have things they like looked at in a meaningful way, and I don't know. It gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. Fire Lord 2013. You don't have to turn your brain off. You don't have to. I find it more fun to enjoy things with my brain turned on. That adds a layer of interest for me. But maybe I'm the weird one. Oh, I never forget. So this is why I hate this shit.
Solid.
I'll never forget.
It's decent.
My now wife. This is like
it's not gonna pay me for college.
We went to see V for Vendetta.
Like. But like, it's pretty decent.
Has like, reactionary elements. But at the time, 21, 22-year-old FD found V for Vendetta.
I also don't get any sponsorships. Your average 5K a month? Definitely not. My average is like closer to like 3.5. If you average out all of my month, right? But like, what I make nowadays a month is around like 4K, right?
Just a movie ass person. I don't like them either. It wouldn't be so bad if they didn't get mad at you. It's not even that y'all neurotypical folks don't be seeing stuff. It's that y'all be mad that we see it, and then your thing becomes, how can I make you feel bad about your ability to analyze media? It ain't that deep that people get on my nerves.
It's not gonna pay me through college.
If you
also, and I was living in Los Angeles, so it reads a little bit different. We're living in Los Angeles.
enough, interested in it enough. And don't mistake being critical of something with not liking something. One of my favorite all-time movies is Black Panther. I love that movie. I've watched it multiple times.
So you can see we're almost halfway through the video, and all I'm doing is explaining the fact that I like doing galaxy brain analysis of media. I am a media. My first degree is in mass media. My second degree is in English. I was an educator. My whole thing has always been extrapolating, analyzing, and making people see things, tropes, etc. in media. It's not
rather the holidays net more. No, not particularly. Like maybe because I could stream more technically when I was in school. I made like slightly more during the holidays, but like I don't like the amount of money I got from ads did not like go up through the holidays. My viewership didn't go up either.
No, he hates Bad Empanada.
Also, like my YouTube is not like Bad Empanada or FD streams. It's not popping off like that. It used to back in the day. My YouTube did pretty well. When I was talking about the streaming space, like when I was like, why streaming feels different, white leftist rant, Twitch streamers are crashing out, like white people dropping stars 2025, Dr. Mike Israel, Ludwig. Like it had a good period of like doing pretty decently on YouTube. Right? Even the Linus video did decently. FaZe Clan video did decently. HR video did decently. Dreamer Wars video did decently. And then like these videos that aren't doing as well, use algorithm change. I started posting less and I stopped posting more about the streaming space, if you couldn't tell. Like the Emru video is probably my best video that I've done. And it's also my one of my best performing videos. I guess this one also didn't do bad. But like I don't know. I think my channel just isn't as well tuned as it probably could be. You know, people don't really want to see or hear about freaking Grand Platinum, you know? But it is what it is. You do collabs on YouTube with YouTubers, that's not gonna happen.
It's so much to do here. I'm getting mixed up.
So you get more views? Yeah. So would like buying a $3 bajillion camera or whatever. If I did videos with people who have millions of followers, I would have more views than a few thousand. Yeah. That won't change the fact that the type of content on the channel is not hitting the way that it should be hitting. You know what I mean? Yeah, if my 22,000 subscribers collaborated with someone with 1 million, my views would inevitably go up inherently.
In a different world, I'd be interested in that analysis. But he doesn't really have a good understanding at all. He thinks he does. He thinks his analysis is actually really good. It's not. And so here's an example. So I was explaining that we were talking about the nature of becoming white in America for Jewish people. And we compared it to Irish people and what Irish people went through. And so he decides that no, Irish people were always white in America based on some things he's about to say.
The US, but one thing that people are always wrong about in the US, for example, is that like Italians and Irish, etc., were ever considered not white. That's not true. Not even remotely true. They were always considered to be white from the very beginning. In fact, the concept of legal whiteness arose in the British Caribbean before the USA was even officially a country. It rose there specifically because they had to find a legal way to justify keeping black people enslaved, but without giving them justification to ally with whites who were like on a lesser rung than the like English Protestants who managed the colony, mostly the Irish. So the way that they did that, they created a legal category called white. This is the first time they did it. And they did that specifically because they wanted to include the Irish in a category and give them something to lose so that they no longer felt sympathies with the black people there and would no longer think about rebelling with them.
Like,
so the irony here is that he's completely correct, but he's using this information to undergird an incorrect conclusion. He's literally disproving himself through his own language.
Yeah.
Because what he basically just said is what we said and what anybody that actually understands white supremacy in America would say.
Like, he said that white people were never considered white, but whiteness was created to bring white, like Irish people. Sorry, he said that Irish people were always considered white, but also whiteness was created to build a cohesive identity around like Irish and Italian people, to bring them in and separate them out from like the black people, right? So those are contradictory statements.
They were treated not the same as black people, not as harshly as black people, but definitely not included among whiteness in any meaningful sense other than to exclude black people from the category along with them, as he just said. Hormuzi pointing out, I just put up a,
Wait, this is on Amazon? They're selling these signs? That's kind of funny.
So this idea, Hormuzi, what's going on? Does the chat need to do something, or what are we doing? Or is it just something I don't know?
I know whose chatters those are. I can just say, I know whose chatters those are. I love that you can buy a no Irish need apply sign. But how would you feel if you walk into a house and you see that sign? You're like, either you're like extremely woke, or you're like extremely not woke. There's no in between here. There's nobody who would have a no Irish need apply sign in their you know what I mean, in their house. Just cause. Homicide.
Category of whiteness in a legal sense. That's the same way that black people were legally allowed to vote before the Civil Rights Bill. It's a completely brain dead, just poor
you don't need to apply
framing of this concept.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what some Irish people thought as well. They probably thought that when they walked in too. And they heard really quickly that that's not what it was.
The topic, I either don't say nothing or do a better job of learning. Bad Empanada, he's like, fuck it.
I'll be right back.
Fuck it. The next thing he does, and the wildest moment from this.
One thing that people are always wrong about in
the wildest moment from this response, though, is this right here. Did I lose it?
going to be the dominant hierarchical system in the US and in the Americans in general. Where did that come from? How did it evolve to get to where it is now? They wouldn't be able to tell you. They don't know these things. I know more about race relations in their own country than they do about their own country. And here they are trying to apply their own narrow little already misunderstanding of how things work in their own country to other countries, where it doesn't even apply at all.
So he said, as an Australian man living in Argentina, as a white Australian man living in Argentina, that he knows more about race relations in America than a ABD sociologist, a history major, I don't know deculturation's full education, but a historian, a Mexican historian, another black historian, and a genuine black studies scholar, PhD, who teaches at an HBCU. Like straight up academics. But Bad Empanada knows more than us and is able to lecture us on these topics. All right. So, I'm not gonna, because I got so much more to do. We got so much more to get into. We're gonna be here for a while, y'all. I apologize. This is, and I'm only responding, and so Oni, cut this here, put it a little bit towards the front. Because of the debate, one of the things that came in the aftermath of this debate between me and Bad Empanada was that I didn't actually respond to his criticism. And I made the point within the debate that I didn't respond to Bad Empanada's criticism.
Okay, I'm back. Ugh. You missed it? What did I miss? What did I miss?
I forced him to explain himself in his own
Go
words.
back? I literally can't.
Showing the things he put out there. But by then I had already beat the shit out of him and I was ready to go. But just as in good faith, I want to respond to these criticisms he made of my stances and arguments. Of which his proof has been
YouTube. Pretty funny. You're right. I can't go back on my YouTube. Can't go back on my YouTube.
Don't say nothing said and what anybody
is that like Italians and Irish how did it evolve to get to where it is now? They wouldn't be able to tell you. They don't know these things. I know more about race relations in their own country than they do about their own country. And here they are trying to apply their own narrow little already misunderstanding of how things work in their own country to other countries, where it doesn't even apply at all.
So he said, as an Australian man living in Argentina, as a white Australian man living in Argentina, that he knows more about race relations in America than a ABD sociologist, a history major, I don't know, deculturation's full education, but a historian, a Mexican historian, another black historian, and a genuine black studies scholar, PhD, who teaches at an HBCU. Like straight up academics. But Bad Empanada knows more than us.
I believe him.
And is able to lecture us on these topics.
I believe him. He said it, you know. He's a white man, so.
All right. So.
Okay. I want to see. Oh, someone gifted me his sub. LOL.
A couple of minutes. And this is what he shows of my video.
This sort of content where he dehumanizes the victims of American imperialism, so it's okay. And Mr. FD Signifier, who we are all supposed to believe is oppressed despite the fact he makes upwards of $500K a year more.
FD Signifier, who we're all supposed to believe is oppressed, despite the fact that he makes $500K a year, which I do. I'm not going to lie. I make good money. That doesn't make me not oppressed. It's the pocket watching combo. He didn't have to add that part. That little seasoning, ugh.
Or really, making this sort of content where he dehumanizes the victims of American imperialism to say that you should vote for and support the people who mass murdered them is here telling you.
In this video, people that have watched it, do I say you should vote for Graham Plattner?
No, actually, he doesn't say
Do
this.
I say that at any point?
I know because I watched it. He doesn't say that in the video.
That. So the fact that
not a single point
so
in the video.
He decided to go back for a fifth tour with the Blackwater Mercenary Company.
We are 10 minutes in. We still have not actually heard any words from my video.
Is brought up here.
It's like,
and this is FD Signifier's.
I think of any coverage of Graham Plattner, and you know that I'm critical of Graham Plattner as well.
To be a Blackwater mercenary, because that's the thing. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't like harping on soldiers.
I have to say, like, I don't get it, right? Like, why would you not draw the line at 4 mass murderous deployments? Why is it the 5th one with Blackwater that you don't get? Why do you not get the first one?
So let me just give you my opinion on the military. I don't think anybody should ever join the American military. I don't think anybody should ever join the American military. I've told my boys there's 2 rules when you grow up. You can't be a whack-ass rapper. You can't join the military. If you become a whack-ass rapper, I'm going to clown you on my channel. And if you join the military, I'm going to disown you. That's it. Cop includes military. Cop
Okay.
includes military.
Okay.
Right?
What about a good rapper?
That said, I don't take this highly online, in my opinion, purity politics stance that people who have joined the military are forever enemies. I understand that the military industrial complex is one of the most powerful media machines in this country. Yeah. Period. And I know numerous people who are ex-military, who regret being military, who recognize how they were manipulated into joining the military, and are now principled leftists in a variety of different equations. Numerous people.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about paramilitary, whatever stuff.
Oh, I do.
I'm sorry. Let me finish that point. So because I have that belief, when it's time for me to understand a Grand Plattner, I want to talk to someone that is a leftist that has also been in the military to explain to me what that process looks like from a white person standpoint. I've talked to all the people, but by the way, when I say people that are ex-military, all of them that I know and like engage with personally are black. I don't know anybody like that that's white. I only know one person like that that's white. We're gonna bring him up in a second.
They're volunteering mass murders for the U.S. fucking empire. I don't like harping on soldiers too much.
Too tough.
Why not? Why not? They're mass murderers. They're volunteering mass murders.
Yeah. I mean, feel free to critique me on this if this is not woke enough for you. I do not find it useful to I do not find it useful to center victims of propaganda in my analysis. I do not find that useful. I have many critiques. I just told you how I feel about it. But if I am in community, in organizing spaces, which I have been with people who are ex-military, I'm not going to be like, you can't be in our... I'm not going to be like, you can't organize and build with me because you're ex-military. If that's how your space is, I respect that. Or if you can't do that and decide that my space isn't for you, I respect that. But as a categorical idea, no, I don't feel that. So here's a critique I could have engaged in, right?
About that, but I've heard Westside Tyler explain his transition, but I don't think Westside Tyler was ever a mercenary though. Like, that feels like a significant line.
That feels like a line for you? Baby killing for a mercenary company? How is that any worse than baby killing directly for the US government? What's the difference for you? Why is one word?
The difference is that propaganda, but whatever. And so I bring up Westside Tyler. Westside Tyler, as you know, was a part of my problematic white boy tier list, right? I talk with Westside Tyler every once in a while, like I talk with a lot of problematic white boys. Westside Tyler has an ex-military career and talks about his ex-military experience in a way I don't like and don't agree with. But that's his line. That's his stance. I can engage with people through whom which I have material fundamental disagreements with, especially if I think they bring something useful to the analysis that they give. And to me, the only person that has only white leftist right now that has a useful for me analysis of white supremacy and white leftists in general is Westside Tyler. He says a lot of stuff I'm like, whoa, whoa. We're gonna pause the video. But he says a lot of stuff that I find genuinely insightful. Period.
I don't personally agree, but to each their
for
own.
The sake of
I have my own beefs. I'm not gonna go into this chat. I have my own beefs with both sides, Tyler. But
lines around where I learn, what I find useful. He said Westside Tyler is a waste of a great rap name, low key.
That's Kachimona. Kachimona is trolling.
So he stops, and so I think that's my last. Okay, no, where we are right here.
paid more to kill babies. Rebuild the American military, American mass gators. Opinion on gravities of soldiers like this. More Graham Plattners don't exist. Signed up to the U.S. military.
I'm not going to say I do not care. What I am going to say is, would it be better for the country to have one less Republican senator? Yes.
Well, I mean, as long as he's not a Republican, it's okay that he mass killed babies. Why try to do anything for people?
This is clearly not what I'm saying, but okay.
Yeah.
Right? Why try to bring any sort of even like social consequence to this guy for what he did as an anti-imperialist left-winger?
That's not what he said.
Like, in the interest of the people I care about, I will show up and I will vote, but I will never stand. I will never promote.
This guy endorsed Kamala Harris openly, by the way. Oh, just
that
so
also never happened.
These people do propaganda for a mass fucking killer, and by
is that the end?
Propaganda.
So that's the end of the video. That's the end of, I'm sorry, that's the end of my presence in this video titled FD Signifier Loves Graham Plattner. I'm not going to replay the video, but if you go and you watch the video, the whole point of that video is me critiquing the white left, the Mike from PAs, the Kyle Kalinskis, the Hassans, that entire group of white leftists for how they're responding to Graham Plattner. I stand by the fact that yes, I would prefer one more anti-Israel Democrat in office as senator than not. But I will never talk about these guys the way y'all talk about them.
I'm with them on this.
So if we wanted to have a conversation around that, that would be fine. But he needs to create a narrative that I am pro Graham Plattner.
Yeah. Which is why I said yesterday, like, of all the people he puts as pro Graham Plattner, it's FD Signifier who had the best coverage of Graham Plattner of anybody I've seen so far, besides me. Like, it's insane. Like, it was a good video. It was a good video. Like, it is the only issue with FD Signifier's video is that he wasn't as informed on like private military contracting as he probably could have been to speak on that specific dynamic, right? But other than that, which he acknowledges that he doesn't know much about, right? Which is fine. Other than that, it was a very solid video. When you compare that to like every other coverage of Graham Plattner, it's been just glaze.
Because nobody brings up the fact that at no point do I say the thing that's in quotes or even sells themselves. I don't know what he's saying. Well, a couple of them said, I don't know what he's saying here. At best, they said, I don't know what he's saying here, but I'm sure it's what Bad Empanada says he's saying. But that's the space as a whole. The space as a whole is built for that. It is what it is. So he may have said other things about me, but the gist of what I wanted to do here in this first part is to show that Bad Empanada is not materially critiquing actual stances I have. I do not think Jewish supremacy is a fake thing. I do not think Zionism is a Nazi dog whistle. I do not think that anti-Semitism is the most important pressing issue.
It's also tied to Bad Empanada. I think gentlemen should just block Bad Empanada. I think everybody should just block Bad Empanada. I've stood on that for months at this point. You know, just block this man. It like just
what?
Once.
Just like I got to deal with white leftists.
You should block his account every week.
A couple of motherfuckers in government. I'm gonna take Graham Plattner over whichever Republican figure they're gonna throw out there. But I made that video. I made that Graham Plattner video explicitly to point out how the white left turns off their critical faculties when a strong authoritative man tells them what they also think themselves already. When a strong authoritative man says the things they wish they could say, but they can't or don't. Right? So, that is why I did not bother to respond to Bad Empanada's critiques of me.
Yeah.
They're not real critiques.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, like, right, FD, myself, Think Peace Tribe, we've all said the same thing on Graham Plattner. Right. And it's all been, like, subsequently ignored, for obvious reasons. But it's the same conversation because it's a frustration that, like, black leftists have with the way that white leftists engage with the space, which is that they will like only give their, they will only give their, what's it called? Like, not only give their support, but like they will let things slide from other like white leftists, as long as like there is there's like a universal healthcare through line. Think we tried mention. Yeah, I think we tried was great.
So this brings us to being on Noah Sampson's stream. So
Blackwater seated enough. Yeah. You did the whole debate.
I got a lot of love for Noah.
We did.
I want everybody to leave here and go to his stream when I'm done and donate to his his legal fee drive. But I've had numerous conversations, not like serious, not like deep, not like heated, but I told Noah Sampson on numerous occasions, I really don't fuck with Bad Empanada. I don't think you should fuck with Bad Empanada, but you do what you think is best. At a certain point, Noah started fucking with Bad Empanada. And I'm going to just be real. Bad Empanada is using Noah to sane wash and normalize his presence in the online left. That is what Bad Empanada has done to Noah in the last 2 years.
I think Noah doesn't want anything to do with like drama. I genuinely.
And that authoritative edgelord nonsense. But two,
and so it's like
to give Bad Empanada credit.
I don't think Noah was malicious. I think Noah is like a good person. I think he's chill, and like he's just like, I want to bring the space together. You know what I mean? He's like Osana means family, or Ohana means family, not Osana. Osana's like that software for businesses. I think Ohana means family,
right?
Nah, I said Osana.
People like Bad Empanada are also why Noah Sampson is getting sued right now. That crossover, the way that Bad Empanada's community brigades and pushes anyone that allows them in their space. Like everybody, like the only person, like somebody said, you go block Bad Empanada. Everybody that used to rock with Bad Empanada that gave him a little love after October 7th, 2023, has now blocked him except for Noah Sampson. Noah Sampson's the only one, and maybe Cavernacle. They're the only ones that have not said to themselves, this guy's kind of a weirdo and unhinged, and I probably shouldn't invite him into my space.
To be fair, I don't see Cavernacle like engaging with Bad Empanada like that.
For Hasan to beef with Ethan Klein. And this is a criticism of Hasan too. First off, Hasan should have never been in the podcast with Ethan Klein. Let's just put that out there. He's admitted that himself. This is just keeping it real.
Have you ever said you wanted Pleitner elected? Have you ever seen you wanted Pleitner elected because FD did? No.
I always keep the white left at arm's reach or some shit like that. Because the bottom line is,
I don't engage in especially electoralism. So like if Pleitner gets elected, he gets elected. You feel me? But I'm not gonna be like, I do agree with the idea that like it would be better to have Graham Pleitner elected than like Susan Collins. In the same way that it would be better Kamala Harris was elected over Donald Trump. But I'm not like you don't get my support. You know what I mean? That is an analysis of material reality instead of actually an endorsement. Right? I did not endorse Kamala Harris. I did not endorse Graham Pleitner. It would be better to have a non-child killer candidate. I agree with that as well. That is also a true and effective, right? And I think it is an L, the same way that it was an L for Kamala Harris to even be the candidate in the first place, right? It was an L for Graham Pleitner to even be the candidate in the first place. We should not have had Graham Pleitner as a candidate. Graham Pleitner being the nominee for the Democrats in Maine is a fundamental failure of the Democratic Party. It is a fundamental failure of the Democratic Party, right? So I don't think it's a binary. It's not in my opinion, is not between Susan Collins and Graham Plattner, right? There was a secret third choice that all of the leftists for the last 8 months just did not engage with, right? The secret third thing is we removed Graham Plattner from that position and put somebody else in there that we could have done, and that didn't happen because all of the white leftists that were lazy. That's my take. There was time we could have dropped him immediately, and we should have dropped him immediately, right? So in my opinion, it doesn't even matter if he's like has better policies than Susan Collins, because the fact that he's in that position shows something deeper that is fundamentally wrong with the wider left. Kind of talks a good game. Do we think he's lying? I think he's lying. There's a guy here that I haven't been in this stream for a while. What is every issues with Bad Empanada? He's really agreeable to me. He's only when it covers Graham Plattner in the way that he should be covered. First of all, this is a falsehood, because I cover Graham Plattner better than Bad Empanada covers Graham Plattner. If I'm being entirely honest. Bad Empanada covers Graham Plattner from a framework of drama. That's it. He doesn't even care about Graham Plattner. He wants to weaponize Graham Plattner to increase his own online presence and to boost his own ego. That's it. That's it. He doesn't care about Graham Plattner. He doesn't care about the fact that a child-killing mercenary, former soldier who lost his service is going to be elected as a Democratic nominee, right? He doesn't care about any of that. He cares about using that to bolster his own presence. That's fundamentally it, right? Because if he did care about that, he would actually cover it in a meaningful way. I watched your video and you didn't mention policy of wanting to expand the military in your video. Probably because I talked about Graham Plattner for like 10 hours, Tatter. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I covered Graham Plattner for 10 hours and I had to cut a 30-minute video off of one of the segments. I've covered that numerous times. Numerous times. My video was if you watch the video itself, I said it in the video. My video was a very specific video, right, of an analysis of whether or not Graham Plattner was as anti-war as people presented him as. That's it. That's what the video was. It was a very specific analysis of whether or not Graham Plattner was as anti-war or an anti-war candidate in the way that people presented him as, right? I've covered Graham Plattner more than Bad Empanada. I cover Graham Plattner more than anybody else has in a critical way. The shop idea thesis that he wants to expand about American military. I covered that, chat. You know what? I'm just gonna ban you. You can look at my VODs. Look at them, watch them, and come back and then do your unban request after you've watched them. Look at the VODs. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Watch the VODs. Look, 24 days ago, 8 hours. We need to talk about the defense contractor left, right? 7 hours. Petty Plattner Power Hour. Whatever that other title is, I say. Oh, the double down, right? 6 hours. Petty Plattner Power Hour, the double down again, right? And then 18 days ago, 5 hours covering Graham Plattner again. You can click on any of these, random timestamp, I'm talking about Graham Plattner. 4 tours, knowing that it's bad. He knew that it was bad, joined the military, did 4 tours, got out. 6 years later, he went back and joined Blackwater knowing that it was bad. You were incorrect on that. You are incorrect on that. And your beef is I didn't bring up, honestly, the least impactful thing that he's done. You're upset that I didn't bring up the literal least impactful criticism of him. This is why you're stupid. You're dumb. You're a fool. Him wanting to expand the American military is objectively the least effective criticism of Graham Plattner. And I have also said that in one of these sections. Right? I've criticized Hasan. I've criticized Mike. I've criticized the Majority Report. I've criticized Kyle Kalinske. I've criticized all of these people on Graham Plattner before Bad Empanada did it, by the way. Before Bad Empanada did it, by the way. Before Bad Empanada did it, by the way. Hold on, where is it at? It is streamception. From a
specifically did you say just because?
Oh, look, what is this? I'm pretty sure that's the case. The Kool-Aid, the so close to the Kool-Aid was too damn good, which is fine, right? And I'm not even coming at him for that being the case. I'm coming at him for, I'm not even coming at him. I'm coming at him for being inconsistent, but I'm coming at the people who are supporting him for lying about this, right? And gaslighting me about this. Like, there were chatters who were coming in here saying that this wasn't the case. 24 days ago. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you didn't upload a 30-hour supercut of every single thing you said about Graham Plattner for the last 10 months? You must be a fan of Graham Plattner. You must want the child killer to win the election. Like, I'm sorry, legitimately, this is the stupidest, dumbest criticism you could have of Graham Plattner. It's like number 10 on the top 10 criticisms you can make of Graham Plattner. It's so stupid, which is why I can't stand freaking Bad Empanada stand. Right? Because I promise you, I could probably look at Bad Empanada's coverage of Graham Plattner and find something that he didn't talk about that I did. Guaranteed it. Guaranteed. It's so silly. It's so silly.
He tweets, Noah Sampson invites Zionists to his stream to slander anti-Zionists as Nazis for naming Jewish supremacy. So he tweets that out. And at a certain point, he's in the chat. I'm not going to search through the chat. But at a certain point, he's in the chat. And at that point, we've talked about Bad Empanada so much that it's only fair here we go. There he is. And so he's begging to come up at this point. So I want you to look at my energy now when talking to a person I trust, trying to understand something, right? You know, we're just having a conversation
on the stage rather than like behind the scenes and like debates.
That people are saying Bad Empanada is anti-black because he's calling black men slaves. At the very least, that's microaggressive. Like, and you should understand, if you are a leftist, that like, the invocation of certain languages when you're talking about certain issues is inflammatory. And doing that because you know you get a rise out of people, right, will lead people to call you racist because of it. Like, I don't know the specific transphobic thing that he's done, but I believe it. Right. The entire issue was the entire conversation. He did apologize. No, he didn't. He did not apologize for that. He did it yesterday. Did he apologize in the last like 8 hours from when I went to sleep and then woke up?
And talk about propaganda.
No, he didn't. He said, right, at one point of the stream, maybe I should have thought a little bit more about that. That's not an apology. first of all. But then he doubled down and they called FD signifier a Zog slave after doing that. So like, we watched it. We watched the entire stream.
It is what it is.
I always end up doing this. I did this last time I was talking to.
If you've ever seen me in a conversation that looks like a debate, I'm not debating. I'm not debating.
Any transphobia says trans people only become trans to gain marginalized status. Oh, then yeah, that's transphobia.
And I've said publicly on multiple occasions, I'm not a good debater, but I'm a fucking liar. I'm a fucking liar. I went to an HBCU.
I don't know.
What HBCU?
Oh yeah. So
did FD go
somebody pointed out that this is also exactly what Bad Empanada did to Noah a couple of years ago, maybe last year, when he did a live stream. That Noah had Hasan on, and Bad Empanada jumped into his chat and forced his way into a conversation with Hasan.
I thought they talked about that. Am I tripping?
Again, clout demon.
I don't know what the what's it called? What the takeaway or conclusion was for people for that one, really.
I don't know. I mean, I think I personally, my perspective is that the people, I guess I can stop sharing this. Dog whistle.
I'm gonna.
I'm pretty sure. I thought it was like a agreed upon thing that Hasan agreed to because it was for charity, and they knew that it would get like attention.
You need to change.
Look how energetic he is. Ready, right? Excuse me. I want you to peep how energetic and confident and ready he is for this conversation. He is so excited.
Went straight to webcam mic.
He is.
1 second, my actual mic isn't showing up in the devices here.
He didn't have his microphone plugged in properly.
The Shabbat Messiah. His official doctrine.
Dog whistle.
I'm going to explain
from a line of
something
black men
to you.
on
I'm going
Twitter.
to explain a black man. Who gives a fuck if he's black or not? Okay.
I do. I give a fuck if
to
he's
you.
black or not. I think.
Have you heard?
Wait 1 sec. You need to
understand that? I can read it to you if you want. I can
No.
I
I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. I'm taking you at your word.
Okay, so Chabad is also this massive Zionist organization, one of the worst Zionist organizations in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm sorry, hold on. We're getting
he said that me and
Dang it.
I swear, FD, I didn't plan this.
It's my failure on not staying on code myself.
Zionist Nazis. I don't even know how that came up, but that's why I'm here.
Wait, so say that one more time. Sorry.
He decided to call me a Nazi for being too anti-Zionist for his taste. So
I never said that.
Never have said that. Never have called him a Nazi. White supremacists. White supremacists. I pointed out that he unironically uses neo-Nazi terms, but I'm not going to call him a Nazi. I don't think that counts. I don't think that works. He does live in Argentina. There's a lot of comparisons I can make. So we start out with a lie. And this is the thing that he's done this entire time.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I didn't. Give me a break. Anyway, let's talk about the actual
Wait. No. Did he say? Is that something you believe?
He said, oh, he uses Nazi dog whistles for not caring for Jewish feelings. The typical bullshit.
Did you use a Nazi dog whistle? Did you call BGR?
You're talking about Nazi dog whistles. Do you understand
Answer the question
something?
you're evading. Did you use a Nazi dog whistle?
I'm going to
from
explain
a line of black
something
men
to you.
on
I'm going
Twitter?
to explain a black man.
So you see, immediately we're evading. Immediately we're evading. We have the evidence. And he's evading because Bad Empanada acts like this on Twitter. He acts like this in comment sections. But he doesn't do this in his content.
I was muted. This is true.
And this is what makes him similar to Destiny. Because this is what Destiny does. Destiny goes on Twitter, acts a donkey, says inflammatory, awful stuff, and then Martin Bailey's when he's confronted live. It is a strategy for this type of debate grow creator. I'm going to go somewhere, get in front of people, and act like I don't have any sense, and trick them into engaging with me so that I can siphon and vampire off of their presence for my channel and content. It's backpedal empanada. But it's not backpedal. Because I'll say this. The thing that was most revealing to me is how committed he is to, and it makes sense when I think about it. At no point in this debate, because we're not going to do the whole thing. At no point during this debate does he acknowledge that it was not good, that it's not good for him to use Nazi dog whistles and hate speech casually in the same way that Nazis do. He feels like he should be able to act like a Nazi because he's not a Nazi. He's actually an anti-Zionist. And Zionism is the real problem. And how dare you critique me acting like a Nazi when there's a genocide going on? I should be able to act like a Nazi. There's a genocide going on. Why are you wasting time talking about my Nazi adjacent
that's
behavior?
a very Bad Empanada tweet thing, to be entirely fair. This is exactly what he does.
Mind you, again, he clearly understands the problem of this. This is a video he made last year critiquing one of his own former peers on them frontlining anti-Semitic, Nazi-coded sentiment in their content. But a year later, when things are drying up, when he has to get my attention, suddenly he doesn't understand that.
Or not. Okay.
I give a fuck if he's black or not. I think
have you heard of the Jewish?
You are
sect?
avoiding a direct question.
I'm answering the question to you.
So I keep kind of like, so once I realize immediately, because I'm not as bad as a debater I make myself out to be. Immediately after this moment, I say, oh, he really is just Vosh. He really is just Destiny. I wasn't sure. And I say this later, but I wasn't sure if he was just an edgelord or if that he was really intelligent and this was part of some sophisticated strategic critique that he's developed over the years, or if he was just an edgelord that wanted to do edgelord thing with his friends and make money off YouTube.
Friends?
So when I noticed that he was unwilling to just genuinely say maybe using Nazi hate speech is weird publicly, I was like, oh, that's it. We got him. And I just kind of like bided my time. All right,
let me need context. Have you heard of the Jewish sect Chabad, however you pronounce it in Hebrew? No fucking way.
No, I'm not very knowledgeable in this topic. No. I don't study this. I'm not a historian. I'm sorry. I don't study Judaism. I don't study Hebrew. I'm not an expert on on Jewish history, on the history of Israel. I know about media tropes. I know about social theory. But that's not me. And so he tries to pull this edgelord gotcha. You don't know about the thing that I know about? That you've never purported to be an expert on?
I'm fucking blown away. But anyway, this is the biggest like religious Jewish group in the entire world. Of all the religious Jews, they are the biggest. In the United States, they are the biggest. The Chabad Messiah, his official doctrine
still really confident
said that non-Jews are essentially cattle. They are basically slaves. Okay? You understand that? I can read it to you if you want. I can
No. I agree with you. I understand. I'm taking you at your word.
Okay, so Chabad is also this massive Zionist organization, one of the worst Zionist organizations in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are living in this era right now, right, of Jewish supremacy. I know you don't think that, but entertain me for a second. Let's imagine
that we are living. Well, but go ahead.
I mean, you denied it, and that's the entire reason we're talking here.
No, I think before.
And so at this point, I also realized, wait, he honestly, I start to wonder, wait, does he know he's been clipping me out of context and incomplete for the last month? Does he just not even realize what he's doing? Because, like, I've already proved that this is not real. Is he playing dumb? Like, what? Like, so I'm like, wait, he's genuinely just not good at this. He's genuinely just not good at this. He thinks he's about to own me with facts and logic, I guess. I think Bad Empanada actually is just really racist and thought I was dumb. I think he just genuinely thought he was smarter than me and that I wouldn't be quick enough to recognize what he was doing.
Be fair, I think he is racist, true. And I think,
like,
he thinks he's smarter than everybody.
For asserting his positions.
Also, I would not even doubt that Bad Empanada is like live tweeting, watching FD's reaction right now.
Point out how disrespectful Bad Empanada is to Noah. Noah, please clock this. Please clock how this man is using you. How he just disrespected you there, and he does it multiple times. Maybe they're cool like that.
I missed it.
Maybe they're cool like that. Me and Bill and John and BP and other people, we get it in, but I don't know if we've ever talked to each other like this publicly. But that might just be me.
Live in this time of actual, like, real Jewish supremacy. Jewish supremacists are committing genocide against people who aren't Jews. Now you're pretending you believe in that. Oh my God. But anyway, so we have this situation, right, where Jewish supremacists are doing that, and one of the most important Jewish sects in the world, along with many other Jews outside of this Jewish sect,
private convos,
quite literally believes in the matter of official doctrine that non-Jews.
All right, so I'm just going to summarize. This is him explaining where the word goy comes from. And I want you to peek that. He keeps bringing it to goy. And as I've looked at his followers online in the comment section and on Twitter, they keep bringing it to goy. But I have to point out, he said Zog slave. Goy comes from all these Jewish people, this Jewish sect he's talking about. That's goy. Zog comes from the Turner Diaries. So we're immediately being dishonest, and I clocked this immediately. And it's like, how does he? I'm realizing he just thought I was dumb.
Jews are slaves for Jews. Their role basically is to be slaves for Jews. They are basically like cattle. Mm-hmm. So do you think in this moment there might be more utility to perhaps not screaming Nazi whenever someone throws these sorts of terms back at these people who are literal Jewish supremacists?
Are you a Jewish
These are people who literally think. These are people who literally think. No, I'm.
He said these sorts of terms. These sorts of terms. So.
I correct him.
Zog slave, goy slave. Who cares? Who gives a fuck?
And now I have him. And now it's a wrap. Zog slave, goy slave. Who cares? Jewish supremacists. This is it. This is the end of the debate at this point. He says, I don't care if it's a term from Jewish supremacists or from white supremacist neo-Nazis. I want to be able to use it, and you shouldn't critique me.
Bro, this is what I said yesterday.
So he's literally doing the thing. He's literally doing the thing here.
I do. I think it's weird for left. So first off, let's clarify. Thank you for that filibuster. Did you or did you not call BGR or BRG? I'm not familiar. Did you or did you not call him a Zog slave on Twitter?
Absolutely. That term is fucking hilarious. Why shouldn't I?
So, Nazi hate speech is hilarious. Why shouldn't I use it? Nazi hate speech is hilarious. Why shouldn't I use it? And that's when I load the gun. And y'all know when it's coming. I load the gun in the back of my head like, oh, it's hilarious. Hate speech is hilarious. Things that Nazis say are hilarious when I say it wokely. Oosey Juicy, he should just call you a slur. Wait for the hook. Wait for the hook. It's hilarious.
I don't think you should, because I don't think we should be operationalizing
but I hold it.
Nazi terminology to attack.
I want him to.
I think that's weird, unprincipled, and shitty. And I think that's why you have the reputation you have.
These are all just like, oh, I think it's weird, shitty. Dude, who gives a fuck, okay?
Who gives a fuck?
Listen, you can do Jewish supremacy right now, okay? And you're splitting hairs because I threw out this funny term at someone who supports.
And I want to take a moment to point out that Noah Sampson's in the corner here. This is supposed to be a stream to help him build a legal defense against Ethan Klein, who is trying to paint him as an anti-Semite. And I am here having to debate his friend on why using Nazi hate speech casually but wokely is a bad thing. But he thinks it's hilarious. Who cares?
This is what I said for like a while, where it's like, I think language matters. Remember when I literally said this a few weeks ago, where I was like, the language that you use does matter, and that, you know, the language you use shows what it is permissible, right? And that maybe not using like charged like slurs or, you know, charged language to be inflammatory to make a wider point is beneficial to the wider movement. Right?
You're not saying it's not a Jewish supremacist slur.
Who was the origin point of the Zog? What are you saying about it?
BRG. It's a guy, BRG.
He called him a Zog.
He's a massive electorate. You know, he's all the Zionist politicians.
I don't think it's really established in American or Western media apparatus that Zog is anything other than the dog whistle that it is. It's, you know,
and people in the chat already realize it. BE caught. But there's other people. Here, FD is again being more concerned about hurt feelings than genocide. And I don't even know how to respond to that. Like,
I do. Bad Empanada is more concerned about his ability to be able to use inflammatory language than about a genocide. Right? Because if you tell him, like, hey, it may be more effective, right, for this movement if you actually didn't use this charged language in this way to be inflammatory, he's like, I don't care, it's still funny. He's more concerned about being able to say whatever he wants to say than about actually furthering the movement holistically. It's just Destiny behavior, right? It's no different than Destiny being like, I should be allowed to say the N-word because I think it's funny, right? He's not concerned about like anti-racism or like the wider left. It's, I should be able to say this thing that I know is inflammatory because I think it's fun.
and he even says it in this
Anyone in the American media apparatus even knows what that means.
Well, it's like the you know,
I think a lot of people
you guys both disagree with the framing that Zionists occupy the government, right? It's imperialism the other way around.
I mean, it depends. Are there Zionists in the government? Yes, that's Israel occupied the government.
But Israel doesn't control America.
Why are you worrying about this right now?
Well, because we're talking about the terminology of Zion.
Why can't I use hate speech from Nazis? Why are you being mean to me? I just want to act like a Nazi online to start shit with black people so I can get likes and clicks so that they'll come and debate me. By the way, BRG did debate Bad Empanada, which he shouldn't have. He said, chill, I'm going to get clipped.
Bro. I still stand on everybody should just block Bad Empanada because I think it's funny.
It's not to support the Palestinians. It's not even to attack Zionism or to attack Israel. It's to bring attention to your channel and your content. So
that's just speculation of my motivations.
It doesn't matter.
It's just speculation. That's your opinion, man.
Yeah, I'm just giving you my speculation. I'm telling you why I care. You can tell me why that's incorrect, but like telling me that that's my speculation is just saying.
So maybe the question: do you think is that in service of a broader political goal, Bad Empanada, when you use language like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the fact of the matter is, we live in a world that is Jewish exceptionalist, Jewish supremacist, and this framework, these sorts of frameworks, are what specifically led to the genocide.
So the only way this answer makes sense is him saying we live in a world that is Jewish exceptionalist and Jewish supremacist. Therefore, we need to act like Nazis to attack them. That is what this framing, the only framing
if Dark Web went too far,
that follows a logical through line.
Yeah, this is the logical endpoint of Dark Woke, right? The logical endpoint of just I'm going to say a thing that I know is reprehensible because it's attacking like the bad people. This is the logical endpoint of Dark Woke. Whereas when I compare it to like Kyle Klinsky saying the R slur to like towards conservatives or whatever, right? That's like half of the step towards getting to this. Which is like, we should be Nazis because, we're being Nazis against the Nazis. Right? That's why I brought up the meme of like, these are the weapons of our enemies. We will not use this. We do not need it. Right? That one Batman panel. It's like, you don't need to use this inflammatory language. You're only doing that because it makes you feel cathartic, right? It's a catharsis for you. You feel me? Sherman's voted for Kamala. I don't know if Noah voted for Kamala.
Shitty behavior, and you act shitty because it gives you views. The
it doesn't give me views.
No.
What would give me views? Falling in line with
you
people
have
like you.
my face on them. Let's pull up your channel now on Bad Empanada Live. The thumbnails
you try to reduce everything to drama. No, let me respond. You're trying to reduce everything to drama because
then
what actually happened here?
Because it's funny.
What actually happened here? First place, right? Your friend Lil Bill made a video in indirect response to my video on Jewish supremacy, one of the videos I made just like a week before he made that, okay? That's the first thing that happened. I responded to him on his points on Jewish supremacy in Israel, okay? Then in response to that, you, him, and two other people made a stream dedicated to basically indirectly refuting me. For whatever reason, right? Then I responded to that. And you try to reduce this to drama. And what we're talking about here are very important political concepts.
I'm sorry.
Your response to me, as always, you just did it there. Like, look at your channel. You just said this for the drama.
I'm just looking for clarification right now.
I'm talking about this because these are important political issues that matter to me. I don't give a fuck if it's you talking about them or anyone else. You specifically, the sort of people who shouldn't be spreading.
I disagree with that. I do. I don't agree with the laundering of bringing Ashley Sinclair or whatever.
For bringing up the channel. But he's trying to couch this in some sincere anti-Zionist critique.
To be fair, I didn't watch the stream though, so I can't say exactly what Hasan did or did not do in the stream. But I don't like the way that like people are being like laundered on their their bad behavior. I've stood on this. You know what I mean? Like I've been consistent on this.
And the thing is, and I say this to him, had he moved off that point, this might have went differently for him. Somewhere in there, I am not above critique,
but it's not a big deal. No, I think it is a big deal when like I think positive coverage of somebody who was like shitty in the past, like, is a laundering of their reputation. Like, if you bring on like Marjorie Taylor Greene and you're just like, hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, talk about how much you hate Israel without engaging with the bad things that you did in the past, I think I think that's laundering. It isn't Mel though. Doesn't mean it's not bad. She's been on a redemption journey for a while. Hasan has nothing to do with it. I don't necessarily agree with that either, right? Right. We know that Ashley is a like a former like right wing like neo-Nazi adjacent like person. She's transphobic, Islamophobic. We know this. We know that this is the case. Right. And currently she's being positioned as like, you know, kind of in a similar way that people position like Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is like she's a useful ally in fighting against like fascism. But that's in service of like people like that gaining a prominence on the left. You know? She's fine engaging with her past, but also seems like a striker has a long way to go regardless. And she needs to have that past be reckoned with. Don't libs like Marjorie Taylor Greene? No. I mean, that she's being positioned as dark woke warrior that will reveal the secrets of the night. Yeah. And that's just like, I don't personally agree with that. I was trying to put her in the movie. I just see her as leaving the grift and spilling the tea on her way out. She's not doing that. She's positioning she's getting, how do I say this? It's the same way where I said that, like, it's actually advantageous for a white person to like say the N-word now so that in 5 years they can use that to laud their growth, right? It's kind of like that. Like she's being rewarded for her past and history aligning with like the right. Right? She's being rewarded for it because she can now do her tell-all or whatever and like publicly like do the leave and the split. I think that's not. I feel like if she wants to leave, she can leave, right? She can leave the right or whatever. I think she should leave the right into obscurity. I don't think she needs like a press tour doing a tell-all or whatever. I don't need her to tell me that like, yeah, conservatives, they're kind of bad. Like, yeah, we know this. You know what I mean? We know that they're bad. But like anything that we get from her, she benefits from, right? Any tell-all that we get from her, she benefits from that. Right? There are leftists who are going to be like, well, like, I didn't like her before, but maybe now I feel a little bit better about her. Right? It's kind of like the Dr. Mike Israel of it. DNC's going to do it with Tulsi Gabbard come to general elections? 100%. 100%. But this is just the way that this is less about Ashley specifically and more the way that we treat as the left treat former conservatives, right? Especially white former conservatives. They are always highlighted to like a position of prominence and given a microphone in the movement. Always. That's kind of what Dean is, you know? Do you feel like the insider knowledge that she can share should be done behind the scenes and not give her a platform? I don't think she has like any. I don't think the knowledge that she provides is actually useful in any regard, personally. I'm not saying that we should be like, you should never change, Ashley, go back to the right or whatever. But I don't think that people who are positioning her as like a, like a real truth teller who needs to be like, held to a position of prominence is like, I don't think that's really doing much. And it just serves her because it benefits like shitty behavior. You know?
Criticize people on the left, even though I know for a fact he thinks way less of way many of them than he will ever say. It's because he doesn't want to compromise his audience. Sorry, Noah, you know it's true.
So, and then out of nowhere, he puts Noah on blast. Out of nowhere, he puts Noah Sampson on blast. to undergird his misanthropy.
Reduce that to being nothing but videos.
I'm not trying to
like just for the sake of putting your face. Reduce that to being nothing. I'd be networking with Hasan Piker. I'd be networking with people like you.
No,
that is how I would actually have way more subscribers, way more views. If you don't rock the boat, you get way more fucking views. Noah Samson does not criticize people on the left, even though I know for a fact he thinks way less of way many of them than he will ever say. It's because he does not.
Noah didn't appreciate that. Peep Noah's face.
Because he does not want to.
Peep Noah's face.
Reduce that to being nothing but videos.
Like
just for the sake of people were saying Noah was just staring blankly, but no, you can look at Noah's face here. He's like, "What the fuck you talking about me for?"
I said him years ago, asking the cloud network.
Wait till he says it. No, not here.
What you're doing here is like accusing me of grifting. Okay, it's accusing me of like just chasing.
No, chill, Noah.
I would not be shitting on you. I'd be networking with you. I'd be networking with Hasan Piker. I'd be networking with people like you.
No,
that is how I would actually have way more subscribers, way more views. If you don't rock the boat, you get way more fucking views. Noah Samson does not criticize people on the left, even though I know for a fact he thinks way less of way many of them than he will ever say. It's because he does not want to compromise.
What the fuck you talking about me for?
No, I don't.
You see Noah lock in? You see Noah lock in? He's like, what the fuck you bring up my shit for? Like Noah was staring, he was thinking. He heard that shit.
Yeah, this is honestly kind of why this space is kind of cooked. You know what I mean? Like,
I'd be networking with Hasan Piker. I'd be networking with people like
you.
Yeah, no.
That is how I would actually have way more subscribers, way more
Blinking,
views. If you don't rock the boat, you get way more fucking views. Noah Samson does not criticize people on the left, even though I know for a fact he thinks way less of way many of them.
You see that brow come down?
It's because he does not want to compromise his audience. Sorry, Noah, you know it's true.
No, I don't think so. I disagree.
I think it is.
Well, the reason I don't do that is
I know that you agree with me on tons of things that you will never say publicly. You will never make comments. It's fine.
Noah Samson, he's just like me for real.
The reason I don't do it is because I don't think the way the platform allows could bring any meaningful change other than big drama, big clash video.
I think it can massively.
What has though? Okay, so for you, what has brought positive change in your eyes from?
And
what you do from other
I think this is where he lost Noah, although it shouldn't have ever been gotten to this point to begin with. But at this point, I think he loses Noah because Noah's like, "Yo, what the? You already in here defending slurs, then you trying to put me in the same category as you."
Bad Empanada
right?
Stream was so nice when he got on too. Yeah, because like I think it's a perfect example. Like that's a good point. Bad Empanada when he was in front of Hasan, like he wasn't. No, I think Bad Empanada when he was in front of Hasan during like Noah Samson's stream, they were cordial. They were. There was a switch up there for sure. There was for sure.
I get why he's doing it.
They were laughing it up.
You know, I hope it works out. Everybody on the left is
I think he's a racist.
His videos about Hasan, calling out Hasan
as they've materialized.
Right? I mean, he's honestly he's just kind of a loser, right? Unlike me, every critique that I have, I will always say to the person to their face. There is never something that I will not say in private or on stream that I will not say to a person. Right? That's why I don't have a problem with somebody like clipping me. But I will stand behind everything that I say. If I'm wrong on something, I'll take it back, obviously, and I'll apologize. But like, I don't ever feel like I am inconsistent on that. Right? I never feel like I'm actually disrespecting people when I criticize them. Maybe they feel that way. I don't know. I don't know how these people feel. Right? But like, that's the way that I view the critique.
So no, I think it probably has more to do with Hasan being the most visible leftist figure in modern media, that he's been targeted from a variety of different places, including the left. I think it's due to Hasan's genuine flaws and limitations that he's always been criticized from the left. Shout out Bellamy, who's in the chat.
You see Bad Empanada saying that he will be at Trump's admin's disposal for info on Hasan. He's a collaborator for stuff.
Bellamy was hip of all
he knows that that's not going to happen, right? He knows that's not going to happen. He's saying it because he's a troll. He's trolling, right? Like the Trump administration is not going to call up like Bad Empanada specifically to be like, "Hey, what is your dirt on Hasan?" You know what I mean? He's trolling. He's he's like stirring the pot. That doesn't mean it's not impactful. Which we'll get to the subpoena after this, which is like the feds using like Bad Empanada and Destiny like style like hate posts to base their subpoena off of. So it doesn't mean he can't have that effect, but he's like, he's trolling.
As a bot, change of view contributed, true though. None of us have contributed too much.
And you notice he's filibustering. He is gish galloping. He's trying to talk fast. And you see my face here. Because at this point, I'm like, I think it's about time.
You just said your name?
At this point, I think it's about time.
But did I miss it? When I was yapping?
I know he's coming. I'm like, he's about ready.
Yes, that's so funny. Hold on. There's not even a rewind feature. I can't even check. Go back. I can't go back. There's no rewind feature. It's not rewind time, as Will Smith said. Yeah. Somebody has to like clip it or need to sub. I am subbed. Somebody just gifted me a sub. Okay, what if I just... There's still no rewind feature, chat. There's no sub. What if I press the clip button?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to Grand Platinum, but maybe the anti-Grand Platinum analysis starts and ends with Bad Empanada. I could believe that. I could believe big ego.
No, this is just materially true. Like, I don't care about taking credit for this because I would still be right to talk about what I'm talking about, even if it didn't happen.
Sean
I think
Black.
it's naive to think that as a 100K subscriber on YouTube, you're going to have a political event.
Oh, it was on Grand Platinum. Okay. I heard it. I'm a genius.
Talk about what I'm talking about, even if it didn't happen.
Sean
I think
Black.
it's naive to think that as a 100K subscriber on YouTube, you're going to have a political event.
But the question is, what change have you contributed to as a body?
What change have you contributed to, though? None of us have contributed too much.
And you notice he's filibustering. He is gish gallop.
Oh, I literally just missed it as well, which is kind of funny. We literally just saw it. But I appreciate the clip. Is this true? I am the true Grand Platinum hater. The most Grand Platinum hater you will ever get.
The entire reason why anyone even knows anything about Grand Platinum in this sphere is because of me.
The only reason we know about Grand Platinum is
you
know, he might be right about that. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to Grand Platinum, but maybe the anti-Grand Platinum analysis starts and ends with Bad Empanada. I can believe
that. I can't see
it. Sean Black.
I was Arc Breezy. Shout out Arc
What
Breezy.
change have you contributed to?
True. I led the original Grand Platinum hater, and it was me. Check out, thank you for the gifted sub. Get all of my platinum dollars to Sean. Thank you. My legacy. Thank you. And the thing, it's all because of that one Blackwater video I made like 3 years ago at this point.
Is totally fine. Totally fine. I don't give a shit what Americans say. We're reclaiming this word for everyone. The only issue is that Uncle Tom was a slave, okay? So sometimes it can be used in the wrong way. Like calling someone a house slave when they're doing something clearly by choice, you know, it just doesn't really apply, but it's not particularly offensive, okay? The connotation of this is that these people are like collaborators of some sort, you know, with people who ultimately see them as lesser. This is something that can be applied to many situations.
So he then proceeds to explain Uncle Tom to the black people. This is about Van Jones and something else.
And use these universally useful terms, or like as we saw a second ago, like you can't call yourself empanada unless you're a Latino, as that guy in the top left said. It's fucking insane. It's crazy. Like Uncle Tom is a universally useful term in the connotations of like a collaborator who's collaborating against the interests of a group of people for some reason. And Van Jones is absolutely one of those people. Van Jones is one of those people. Other people who are like that as well, like Ahmed Fouad Al-Khatib is an Uncle Tom Palestinian. Now, as I said, I do understand that Uncle Tom was actually a slave, as in he didn't really have much of a choice. But also, like, the couple...
Did he even mention that Uncle Tom came from a book? Does he know this?
Probably not. Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Is he saying Uncle Tom, like...
Was that like an actual, like...
Hold up.
Historical figure?
Did he mention book? Uncle Tom was a slave. I think he's talking about him like he's a real person.
For sure hasn't read it. Oh, for sure.
I don't know. I won't nitpick. But I almost forgot that.
I think it's a nitpick. I think that's a perfect example of what Bad Empanada would do or did to FT65 in the debate.
Those things, okay? Jews right now are in a position of massive social, political, and economic power. Mm-hmm. That's something that you will deny. You will call it anti-Semitic.
No, I wouldn't deny that. I wouldn't deny that.
Calling some, like saying Zog slave to someone,
so you
like saying Zog slave to someone when they are spreading. Let me finish. When saying Zog slave to someone, or goy slave or whatever, or good goy or whatever.
He keeps on putting goy in there, which has never been. Just show it one more time. He keeps putting going there because he's trying to saying wash what he did.
It's hilarious.
Because it's easier to defend using a Jewish supremacist term under this context than a Nazi hate speech term.
True, true.
The N-word isn't hilarious. How is the N-word funny? If you could come up with a good scenario for that, I don't know.
But it's still harmful and hurtful.
Who is this harmful and hurtful to? When you call someone a boy slave, who is
also
that?
anti-racism movements and the ability to
Jewish
educate
people?
those issues.
A
talking
Jewish
about the
person
N-word.
feels
Talking about
harm
the
when you call someone a goy slave. Like goy is like goy, zog. These aren't things that are like used against Jews. Like you're a zog, you're a goy. If anything, they call people goys. Negative.
And that's just not true because he's saying they to imply it's the Jews to dissuade from the fact that he's talking about the Nazis. He's talking about the topic in hand, the they here in hand are Nazis.
Despectively.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, is it?
I'm not comparing Jewish oppression or whatever to black people oppression. I don't think that's a good comparison to make.
Well, what I'm saying here is we live in a moment, right? We live in a moment.
And also notice he won't stop talking.
Jewish supremacy is rampant.
So you should
in regards to Israel. When Jewish supremacy is rampant, and there are people. No, you let me finish because there are people who are perpetuating frameworks that specifically help to perpetuate Jewish supremacy, right? Mm-hmm. So we have someone like BRG who, at least I used to think he was like a left-wing communist sort of guy, and then he really got caught up in this sort of DSA electoralism, and now he does a ton of like anti-Semitism policing on behalf of the Democratic Party. He will do anti-Semitism call-outs like, "Oh my God, you guys have been real fucking weird about Jewish people right now."
Who he's talking about? I don't remember.
When, Jews certainly do not need you to defend their honor. If anything, we need people to push back against this sort of notion that Jewish feelings are some super important thing, that there's this massive Jewish oppression, basically the Jewish exceptionalism sort of thing, where people have this taken for granted notion that in spite of like all material circumstances point to something very different, that Jews are this oppressed group who need us to defend them all the fucking time, right? Because that is something that's specifically enabled.
All right, I'm loading right here. Because I at this point, I know I got him. He's talking this much. You see Noah's face. I'm like, oh, he's like, this was way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Israel. That's something that
he's sitting here still justifying. He's trying to explain that because Zionism, because Jewish supremacy, because genocide, I need to use Nazi words.
Has for a very long time been a problem that has specifically enabled Israel. People from the left have been like acting like PR for Jewish people, basically. And
so it's okay if you're on the left or any type of individual that protects Zionism and Zionists. I can act like a Nazi towards you. If you, regardless if you're black or American or whatever, if you are a liberal Zionist, I can act like a Nazi towards you. I can use terms that Nazis created as a part of their anti-Semitic theories towards you.
I think when someone is like playing that sort of role, like using this fucking humorous term, zogs like.
I think when someone's in that role using this humorous term, it's okay.
Goy, slave, whatever. This shit is. Why would I call him an N-word? He's not doing anything.
Why not? It's also funny.
It's never okay to call
me a
someone
nigger
an
in your
N-word.
videos, Bad Empanada. They're funny. They'll get. Peep what he just did. I didn't notice this till after the fact. Look at his face when I say, "Call me a nigger."
Playing that sort of role. Like using this fucking humorous term.
He said,
goy, slave, whatever.
Hey.
This shit is. Why would I call him an N-word? He's not doing anything.
Why not? It's also funny.
It's never okay to
call me a nigger in your videos, Bad Empanada. I said, call me a nigger in your videos. They're funny. They'll get you views. Hold on. What just happened? But you think stop. Let's talk for a second. Let's talk for a second. So now I'm going. Now I'm going in for the kill.
Like using this fucking humorous term, zog slave, goy, slave, whatever. This shit is. Why would I call him an N-word? He's not doing anything.
Why not? It's also funny.
It's never okay to call
me a nigger in your videos, Bad Empanada. They're funny. They'll.
Did he think about it? He was like, maybe.
Make sure you can see the chat.
Maybe.
As much
he was considering it a little bit. He was like, he wasn't considering whether or not he should say it. He was considering whether or not he can get away with it. Yeah.
And now I got him. And now it's a wrap. Get you views.
I'm not arguing that it's funny.
But you think I'm not arguing that it's funny. I didn't peep that either. I'm not arguing that it's funny.
You think that's
Stop. Let's talk for a second. Let's talk for a second.
Right
Let me go. I didn't look at Noah's face. What's Noah doing here? Let me see.
Right. But you think we need people to push back against playing that sort of role. Like using this fucking humorous term, Zog slave, goy slave, whatever.
Oh, nigger.
This shit is. Why would I call him an N-word? He's not doing anything.
Why not? It's also funny.
One, it's never okay to
call me a nigger in your videos, Bad Empanada. They're funny. They'll get you views.
I'm not arguing about
you think let's talk for a second. Let me go. You think I'm a liberal Zionist. You think I run cover for Jewish supremacy.
Noah's like,
you think that it's more
I feel like I've made a mistake.
and identify the flaws in your enemies.
He's like,
call me a nigger with the
I feel like I made a mistake here.
Can you let me respond? Like, I don't understand how you think this is like some sort of good response to what I'm saying. Because the term goy slave is no, it's not. It doesn't make any sense what you're saying because the term goy slave is a direct relation to what I'm talking about.
He's not. We're not talking about goy slave. My point
Jewish
is
supremacy, Jewish exceptionalism.
Slurs because they're funny, because they're hilarious, and because you get the right to do that.
No, that wasn't the point of what I was saying. It's not a slur. How is that a slur?
It's hilarious. I'm sorry.
Okay, question.
Again, nothing that Bad Empanada says here matters because he's talking about a wrong term that nobody was brought up at this point, right? He's now deflecting to a different term. It was not the conversation of discussion.
But the whole point is, regardless of whether or not the term is a slur, pay attention to his face now. You know, in the moment, he know he's fucked up. Highly offensive to say that to anyone.
To who? To who is it offensive and why?
To anyone, let alone a black man who is not Jewish.
How does being black change anything?
How does saying calling a black man a slave change?
A goy slave, whatever.
First off, Zog slave. Zog slave. This term's all again from the Turner Diaries. The Nazi.
I mean, Zog is like even
your defense has been
racial slur, like calling someone Zionist occupied government. That doesn't even make sense.
Your defense has been who cares? That's hilarious. By that rationale,
that wasn't my defense. My defense was prefaced with something about how right now it's important that we challenge these sorts of idiotic frameworks.
Why can't you challenge those frameworks without using clearly offensive, fundamentally unprincipled, and distracting language? Because if
that's a good point.
The turn up is happening now. You think that allows you to do that
all the fucking time?
Then call me the N-word right now on camera. If you do it all the time. If you don't think there's a difference. If you
Who said I use the N-word all the time?
No. Oh!
I said I respond to these things in the way that you say I should all the time.
Why won't you call me a nigger right now?
Which he said with an A, obviously.
Difference, Mr. Empanada.
I explained the difference. No, this term is of direct relation to his behavior.
No, let me explain the difference.
In regards to him defending Jewish supremacy. Do you understand the difference? He is defending Jewish supremacy.
You could have said
I respond to him by saying like, oh, great fucking job. You're doing great work on behalf of these...
Still trying to get Scallop and talk over me.
Supposedly marginalized Jewish community.
You could have said, in this tweet, BGR is defending Jewish supremacy by such and such and such. You could have done that. That wouldn't have went off in the fucking algorithm. So instead, you made a hilarious... It's kind of just repeating a thesis I presented this whole time. He knows what will get him attention. He knows it's wrong to do.
Of course they are.
He's made his own video about it.
Like I said I watched this on my second stream yesterday. Like this is true. This is correct. Right? There is no reason for Bad Empanada to not use. There's no reason for Bad Empanada to use unprincipled language when talking about these things, except because he knows that it gets clicks and likes and views and attention. Right? And if you're doing and saying unprincipled things because you know they get clicks, likes, and views and attention, and that's all that matters, regardless of who it hurts, then it shouldn't matter what that offense is. So you should be able to say N-word this or N-word that. Right? If your entire goal is to use offensive and unprincipled language, right, for an overarching point.
It's funny to you. You could have avoided that language and you chose not to because you're unprincipled. Because you care more about the attention
economy. Have you ever called anyone a dumbass? Have you ever called anyone an idiot? Have you ever used a mean word against anyone?
Those words are not intrinsically tied to Nazis or slavery.
Zog slave isn't intrinsically tied to Nazism either. It came like 40 years. Zog slave, I don't even think they ever...
It came 30, 40 years ago. What happened 30, 40 years ago? Bad Empanada? Was the Turner Diaries written?
Never use that term. They just use the term Zog. This came like 30, 40 years after the actual Nazis.
It literally came from Nazis.
Second thing, why are you so obsessed with Nazis? Why are you always talking about the Nazis under the bed? There's always been much more talk. No, there's always been much more talk of Nazis in your content than Zionism.
And so at this point, I know I got him. And so I start, I start styling on him a little bit.
Like, you're not even dealing with the actual issue. I don't think they ever use that term. They just use the term Zog.
It came from the
This came like 30,
Germans.
40 years after
Yeah,
the actual
it
Nazis.
literally came from Nazis.
Second thing, why are you so obsessed with Nazis? Why are you always talking about the Nazis under the dead? There's
You
always
use
been
their
much more
terms, not
talk.
me.
No, there's always been much more talk of
You thought
Nazis
this was
in
gonna
your
be easy,
content
you missed
than
it.
Zionism. This is extremely easy. Like, you're not even dealing with the actual issue.
I'm not getting owned. I'm not getting owned. I'm not getting owned.
The issue was never, and that's the thing.
You want to talk about the
W know over that
That's the
ad-lib.
thing.
issue
You
from
couldn't
first-
actually material critique things I was saying.
I
had to-
materially critiqued you completely. I responded to you on Jewish supremacy.
You had to find, and it was so funny, and I regret it all. Despite the fact that I've been able to expose you in the moment, I regret it.
How
all.
are you exposing? Okay, let's talk
Because
about
I'm exposing
what I
I'm
responded
exposing
to
the
you.
logic you operate with. Because your defense for your behavior is that you should be able to behave. And what's funny is that although I disagree with a lot of what Lil Bill said in that video,
You're
the
just
whole
straight up
point,
fucking lying about what I'm
Let
saying.
me
No,
finish,
you
let me
shut the fuck up.
Let
You
me
let me
finish.
talk because you're lying. You're
No, I'm gonna
mischaracterizing
mute
what-
him. Hold on.
This
How do I
is what
mute?
you do.
How do I mute?
This is also important to
fucking-
note that like whenever FD signifier tries to speak, Bad Empanada would be like, "I'm talking, you can't speak." Right? Whenever FD signifier is speaking, is like, "You shut up. I can't let you lie. I need to stop you from lying." Also, there's like a mute word happening.
Okay,
as well.
okay.
to use
You are
He keeps
ignoring
being
the first
muted
part
and
I
then
said. You
unmuting
ignored the
himself.
First part of what I said to focus on how I said first thing it's funny. That's obviously a minor point, right? That's not the main thing. Okay? I said a bunch of stuff before that, didn't I? Did you respond to the stuff that I said before that, which was the main point?
I don't disagree with the stuff you said before that. That's my point.
If you don't disagree with that, then you clearly
Because
understand how it's fucking important to call this shit out right
between
now.
it. That's the
That's
whole
not a
point.
slur.
Mr.
It's
Empanada.
not slave. It's
I
not a
don't,
fucking
I'm
slur.
sorry, I don't have to
It's
use
not a
racially
slur.
charged Nazi dog whistles in between that, and neither do you. You don't
is
have
that
to
a
do
slur?
that,
No, you need
but
to
nobody
also
will pay
explain how it's
attention
a
to
slur.
you
What is-
unless you act in that way.
You're
And
claiming
you
this
care
is a
more about
slur.
attention
Do you see-
than the politics you say that you're so principled
Bad
on.
Empanada, do
you
you see?
explain
Bad
to us
Empanada,
how
do you
this
see
is-
how it?
He doesn't ever respond to this critique. He doesn't ever respond to this critique. He could easily avoid acting like he acts, but he would get less views. He
Sure.
would not appeal to the weirdo audience he has, which is now filling up with crypto Nazis. If not for the fact that he acts like this publicly, consistently, not
And
on
he's-
YouTube usually.
He's
But on
admitted
Twitter,
this though, which is crazy. Like he admits that he's inflammatory
It can.
in order to draw attention to himself, to bring attention to like important issues. So I don't know why he's like denying it here.
I think he's using
Just own it. You'd be like, yeah, I'm doing this for this reason.
I don't think he believes that it doesn't exist. I don't think he said he does.
He does. Yes, I mean, I responded to him on this. He was
And he cannot and has not presented any evidence that I do not believe Jewish supremacy is real. I've already clarified that, but go ahead.
defending
In
Lil
what?
Bill's take, which was that Jewish supremacy practically doesn't exist.
Is that something you think, FD?
No.
So there can.
And then why did you go on a stream with 3 other people who all denied that?
So can we?
Because that's
It's
what I
funny.
was
I tried.
responding
It's
to,
funny. 'Cause
right?
I tried to bring you to that a while ago.
And also, let's talk about
Yeah, because we were gonna talk about that, and then I saw the target. I was like, oh, we're not gonna talk about that. You're gonna defend using slurs publicly for 45 minutes.
About your video about how Ebenezer is an anti-Jewish dog whistle.
Okay, we talked about that.
We can talk about it again.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's.
So do you, I mean, we can just go over that very
let's
briefly. Do you think it's
establish
ridiculous to be
something.
looking for secret anti-Semitism in Disney movies right now?
So as much as I would love to travel there, I want to make sure you understand that what started this line of thinking and conversation, apart from you, was watching individuals such as you use the excuse of desiring Palestinian liberation, of wanting to be anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, use that, which is gross as shit, as an excuse.
Tone policing. This is just generic tone policing.
It's tone policing. Sure. Call me a nigga.
It is. It's pointless. It's useless.
I can't police your
This is like
tone
you
right
don't deal
now.
with the material. This
I
is the
can't police your
entire
tone
problem
then.
with you. You don't deal with
There's a
anything that really matters.
There's a reason why you have not called me a nigger live in front of this audience right now. Is because
That's
you
not even
understand-
remotely the same.
It's because you understand the necessity.
But I will
of
call you a
tone.
goy slave.
Okay, sure.
Because
you
you serve the interest of Jewish supremacy.
You
at a time
understand the
of
necessity.
Jewish supremacist genocide.
You understand the necessity of tone, and you know what you.
And he clipped this. By the way, he's clipping him calling me a goy slave, and it's going off in his section of Twitter.
Can and cannot get away with, and because
This is what I can and cannot get away
You
with. I want
do.
to change this.
Otherwise-
I want to move the
otherwise-
needle. I want to change what is acceptable. You don't.
But
You
if-
want
but
to
if right
remain-
now-
I want to change what is acceptable. I didn't peep that in the moment.
Anything about the
As to
YouTuber
what that
GDF
must-
is a video
what-
that
what
started a while
the-
back with
what
very
the
surprising
underlying
but it says
meaning
the
of that must
conversation's
be.
going unmoderated.
Right
That
now-
was brought up,
right
I
now,
think,
if
earlier in
you
this
wanna move the needle-
live.
if you wanna move the needle in
I'm aware of some
something
GDF
that's going to
content
interpret in the way
from
that
like
it is
a few years ago.
interpreted.
I haven't seen
Why
any
use it when it's
recently.
completely unnecessary? Is that a tactical move?
Here's a fact for you right now. A fact that you guys will never admit, but is actually true. Right now, in the USA, there are in the USA, I particularly mention just because it's you guys, not because it's the only thing that I care about. There are infinitely more people who are amenable to something like that than who will look at it and even understand it in the negative way that you guys do. There are infinitely more people right now.
There are more people that believe in anti-Semitic dog whistles and hate speech in America than don't. Therefore, I should be able to use anti-Semitic hate speech.
Yeah. There. And I know y'all are also watching this. Let me know if something else interesting pops off. I do want to, before it gets too late, I do want to look at the Hasan thing. If you will let me indulge. Then we can circle back around and come back to whatever else is talked about here as well. Because we did cover this in my second channel fully and completely. You can see it there if you want to. But I do want to see Hasan getting subpoenaed by the federal government over going to Cuba. Fed subpoena Hasan Piker, media Benjamin over Cuba.
Chuck Guys gifted a tier 1 sub.
Is there a video on this? Let me see.
They have given 517 gift subs in the channel.
Ew, what's the first video I see? Freaking Hectone video. Gross, disgusting. Also, Tabitha Speaks has a video out.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank.
Anyways, the investigation of part of a broader dragnet involving 40 American citizens who joined Marxist convoy to Havana. First on Fox, federal officials have served subpoenas to Marxist political influencer Hasan Piker and co-Peaks founder Susan Medea Benjamin as part of a wider investigation on whether U.S. organizations and leaders violated United States laws and sanctions in support of Cuba's communist regime. Fox News Digital has learned. Among those caught in a federal inquiry into whether activists who traveled to Cuba in March violated U.S. sanctions law through the financing, coordination, and delivery of goods to Cuba, according to potentially contacts with Cuban government personnel and entities on the island. The administrative subpoenas were sent to the pair by the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control. The administrative subpoenas called for a request for information, or RFI, seek financial, logistical, and communication information revolving around trips to the two widely bragged about. The two widely bragged about making to the island, making to the island nation in March, with delegations from the Nuestra America's convoy, or our American convoy, from the global network of communist sympathizers, activists, and this is a very unbiased article, by the way. Activists and influencers who brought supplies to the country's ruling Communist Party of Cuba, according to sources familiar with the matter. The investigation is part of a broader effort by officials of the Treasury, State, and Justice Departments to curb malign foreign influence, except for not from Israel, of course, operations inside the United States, and not from Israel, of course. Particularly activists tied to political violence, extremist movements, and acts the U.S. government classifies as terrorism, not from Israel, of course. The scrutiny reflects growing concerns among federal authorities and lawmakers over whether foreign actors, not from Israel, of course, aligned organizations are attempting to shape American political discourse, not from Israel, of course, mobilize activists, and sow discord and normalize rhetoric that could encourage violence and undermine U.S. national security interests, not from Israel, of course. According to the Fox News Digital investigation, SICM pumped $278 million into nonprofit groups that push pro-China, pro-Cuba, anti-US, not anti-Israel, not pro-Israel, of course, narratives and street protests for almost a decade since his marriage in February 2017 to Co-Pink's co-founder Jody Evans, who was also being investigated for her role in the March trip. Co-Pink received $1.33 million from SICM after he married Evans. Yeah, you can't even marry somebody anymore. In March, organizations from SICM, I think the pictures are up. So later on. So the pictures come up here. In March, organizations from SICM's network, from the centermost brigades to People's Forum, a hub for communist causes in New York City, were leaders of the Nuestra America's convoy, which included an estimation of 650 delegates from 33 countries and 120 organizations. The organization included Democratic Socialists of America, a U.S. nonprofit that promotes Piker as a headlining member. Is Hasan a member of DSA? I know that's a funny question to ask. I know he's like supported DSA in a lot of different regards. I don't think is he a member of the DSA? I didn't think he proclaimed to be a member of the DSA. So like Fox is like, they're wrong about a lot of this, but they're actually wrong about this. If that's the case, like he's not a headlining member of the DSA. The investigation of the Office of Foreign Assets Control is part of a broader dragnet that includes many of the American citizens who joined foreign nationals, including a controversial Brazilian activist who was part of the global network of the anti-US Marxist, communists, and socialists. Additional subpoenas are expected. I didn't go. All right, U.S. government. I was not a part of such convoys. I did not go. I was on the ground in the great U.S. of A. As a red-blooded American citizen, I was not. It was nobody you know was chatter. Stop saying you know people who were there. Gosh darn it! This is a serious matter. Actually, you should not be like saying that like you actually like people actually did or were part of the convoy. Right? They probably know already, but like don't like. You don't need to add to this discourse or conversation. Only person who has copious evidence who went to Cuba is Nick Shirley. True. But they're obviously not going to subpoena Nick Shirley because, you know, he's so benevolent. The administrative subpoenas mark a serious escalation by the Trump administration against far-left nonprofit or activist networks that spent years defending communist regimes from Cuba to China while presenting its work as humanitarian aid and anti-work organizing in solidarity with people oppressed by the imperialist U.S. colonial power. I love that you put all of that in quotes, but not like calling Hasan a Marxist. Like, you know, solidarity, oppressed, imperialist, and colonial powers are all in quotes, but like you could just call Hasan like a Marxist communist, and it's just like he's chill. I also call him a headlining member of the DSA, which is not true as well. So give me a second. I have a genius idea. I do this. I can just do this. I don't know why they have creep shots of Hasan's house. I just deleted them from the. Like, yeah, we're gonna go creep shot of Sam's house. We're gonna do that. But the element puts the images of something funny. Oh, I already that's already so much funnier. I already deleted them. They doxed him and his dog walker. I mean, Hasan's already doxed, so like that's not like, you know, the most, you know, like insane thing. It's more of them like being like taking creep shots of like him and his assistant walking his dog. That's like you know what I mean? Like that's insanity. Fox doxed him when he bought the house. Was it Fox that doxed him when he bought the house? It might have been Fox. I mean, I think LSF did it first, right? I'm pretty sure LSF and DGGers did it first, and then Fox just reported on that. Yeah. That's what I remember as well. Was gonna break the story they reacted for sure. Yeah, it was a random realtor website, I think. No, it was a news outlet called Dirt Magazine or something. It was a real estate website that doxes celebs. That's crazy. Okay, now I know to never buy a house under my actual name. I'm just kidding. I can't buy a house anyway, bro. I'm a Gen Z member of you know, the country. We're not buying houses. As reported, a Fox News digital investigation identified 145 nonprofits and activist groups with $1 billion collective revenue with Justice and Treasury Department. Officials are investigating as a part of a wider influence campaign by Cuba's communist regime and other foreign actors. According to public statements, it's believed that delegation members stayed in a hotel the U.S. State Department had put on a Cuba restricted list as businesses directed ties to the communist government of Cuba designated a state sponsor of terrorism. U.S. law imposes broad restrictions on financial transactions, including involving Cuba, primarily through the Cuban Asset Control Regulations, administered by Office of Foreign Asset Control. Those rules generally prohibit unlicensed travel-related transactions and exports of goods and services to Cuba, with limited exceptions for journalism, humanitarian projects. It seems like it was both of those, though. Educational programs and certain activities meant to support the Cuban people. I feel like it was all of those, actually. But Piker, one of the most influential political streamers on Twitch, has built, besides Zoran Mamdani, of course, has built a massive online following with a mix of Marxist politics, anti-American commentary, and inflammatory statements that have repeatedly drawn public backlash. On March 10th, Piker posted a photo of himself with a message on Instagram saying, "I'm going to Cuba." Then can't go to Cuba anymore. And a post from the trip, Sigmund's wife, Evans, smiled Riley in Havana wearing a red and blue Palestinian scarf. I can't read. Red and white Palestinian scarf, or keffiyeh, around her neck, while standing beside Piker, who looked seriously into the camera. In a live stream this week, Piker said the Justice Department's indictment of Cuba leaders Raul Castro is a sham with no legal standing, designed to create pretext for U.S. escalating pressure on the island. That's true. Piker argued that Trump acting like a playground bully. That's also true. Fox News Digital recently observed Piker outside of his Los Angeles home, and not we were stalking him to get creep shot pictures for this article. Bro, tabloids are so funny, and Fox News is a tabloid article. This is TMZ behavior. Fox News Digital recently observed Piker outside of his Los Angeles home escorting his dog, Kaya, outside of the house for a bathroom break early one morning. Kaya, a large breed dog that is mixed with Tibetan Mastiff, Chow Chow, and Saint Bernard, has been a beloved subject of an online campaign known as Free Kaya. I'm sorry. This is not a real article. This is not a real article that like somebody legitimately posted. Somebody wrote this. It went to editors and it was approved before it was posted. Kaya has been a beloved subject of an online campaign dubbed Free Kaya over allegations Piker trained Kaya with a shock collar that transmits painful stimuli as a part of behavior training. At one moment, Piker stood silently over Kaya, gesturing with a finger for her to return to the house after relieving herself. Later, Kaya was observed being walked and driven by a woman leaving Piker's home. Benjamin had also made her mark as an activist, Gadfly, who staged his media spectacles at congressional hearings, defense industry trade conferences, and the homes of government officials, yelling never heard this word before. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? What? That's not how you pronounce that word. Bro, Google is cooked. Invective. I want to show you what just happened. I looked this word up. It gave me the AI overview, and this is what it said.
Invective.
I'm like, what? But then I looked up pronunciation. Then this finally showed up.
Invective.
I'm like, why would you not just give me that originally? Why? Like, why? Why are you giving me invective? I'm like, what? AI, like AI, AI is cooked, but Google's is cooked. That was a French pronunciation. I'm not in France, nor a French-speaking country. So why is the AI giving me the French pronunciation when it could have just given me this normally? I don't want the stupid AI. Gosh, freaking darn it. And I shouldn't have to type in -AI to remove AI search, okay? I shouldn't need to do that. Anyway. Yelling invective, chants and slogans, branding herself as anti-war, but actually writing a pattern of messages denouncing U.S. and uplifting communist and authoritarian regimes, from the Islamic Republic of Iran to the Chinese Communist Party and Communist Party of Cuba. Fox Digital recently observed Benjamin outside of her colorful home in Washington, D.C., with her partner and fellow activist Peach Berry, who accompanied her on a trip to Havana. Piker has been criticized for saying Americans of 9/11, a remark that he said was poorly phrased, and for his past comments about former Representative Dan Crenshaw, who I will not repeat, obviously. More recently, critics, including Representative Richie Torres, Democrat, New York, has accused Piker of amplifying anti-Semitic rhetoric on October 7th, while Piker denied anti-Semitism and said his criticism is only aimed at Israel, not Jews. The larger group is under scrutiny, including Isra Hirisi, the daughter of Representative Ilhan Omar. According to the source, while investigators examined whether or not Omar may have funded her daughter's travel to Cuba, Omar did not respond for earlier requests for comment about her daughter's trip. Piker, Benjamin, Singham, Evans, and Koping did not respond for requests for comment. According to sources, the Office of Foreign Asset Control also investigates Koping's DC coordination, yada 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 yada. I think that's it, right? That's it for the most part. That's the gist of it. Actually, invective doesn't have a plural form. It's already referring to multiple swear words as multiple, so they use a fancy word and they use it correctly. That's pretty funny. Invective. Well, yes, that's happened. So Hasan is being met with a subpoena. What is this video? I can't even play it. So don't even know. I was from 2025 anyway. Yeah, I have a few links I wanted to show. Which is this one from Austin. The funniest part about this is the government is going to go through all this to try to get us on for staying at a hotel in Australia you actually stayed at. Yeah. But they're not actually going to get Nick Shirley because Nick Shirley is working with the government. They didn't delete the pics already. No, I deleted the pics from the article while I scroll through them. So they're still there. Because, it's Fox News. But I think that's kind of insane. This is also pretty funny. I'm on Chuck Schumer's comms team. We're workshopping a Hasan belongs in jail, or Hasan Piker belongs in jail under a Democratic presidential administration. Press relief. We're on our 37th draft, and somebody placed an order for Chinese. Don't worry, they'll get it done eventually. Then Hasan and other basically cleared by the U.S. government too. That's what I understand. From what I understand. Here. About the subpoena leading up to the Cuba trip, Hasan for months, like 3 to 4 months on the street, talked about how he, Koping, and Progressive International were going through the Department of Trade and State Department for permits to carry aid to Cuba. Not to mention these people carrying aid openly, not secretly, in commercial cargo through airplane or airports. The administration did not like anything, it does not like anyone that speaks out. Now that part is clear. So we're seeing that's what we shall do exactly. Speak up and organize and be loud. But yeah. I got to Cuba without U.S. permission. But they had a U.S. permission. It's kind of the point. Right? Who didn't have U.S. Actually, you can go to Cuba without U.S. permission. You know what I mean? Through like normal travel channels. You can't go and stay in certain parts of Cuba, right? Outside of certain zones and bring certain things without U.S. like permission. Right? So there is a process you have to go through to get permission. Right? That they actually did go through. And they're still being like not good enough. You know? I mean, the truth of the matter is that you can kind of do anything, but like it's only a matter of whether or not they'll let you get away with it. That's pretty much it. And I have liberals like doing like a doing like a what's it called? Like a you know, what is it called? Victory lap. We're doing a victory lap. Be like, haha, jokes on Hasan. You should have voted for Kamala Harris or whatever. And so like that's what we're currently seeing. By the way, the so-called most principled leftist Bad Empanada fans celebrating this. Fascism is actually okay if it happens to Hasan, to them. Yes, because they're not principled. You know what I mean? They were never principled. When they stayed at a private hotel and not breaking the embargo by directly doing transactions with the government or enterprises. Yeah, but they claim that they are because they can just lie. Because you can just lie in this government, right? So we'll see what Hasan says when he goes live. If he goes live today to talk about it, right? I think it's interesting that like, you know, you do activism, like direct on the ground activism, and like you get clapped up. There's like no winning. If you don't do any activism, you're a fake activist who doesn't do anything. But if you do on the ground activism to do direct, you know, aid to help oppress people, you know, you get subpoenaed. And even talk about it. You can talk about the fact that he got subpoenaed, right? You know, he probably will talk to a lawyer, and should talk to a lawyer first. Where you could say, "I got served, and I am facing this subpoena." You know. Again, I'm also not a lawyer. Ensure receipts are not being sorted through. Exactly. Right. You can do whatever you want to, so long as like you have the right people who are gonna, you know, okay it. Legal ego help us. Since earlier is also the only way that this could heel hook him. They could heel hook him without getting liberals on his side, like Don Lemon. The second Cuba is involved in every idea or asylum on this. No, I mean, sure, but like I think like you have to Don Lemons be like, this is obviously bad, right? Because I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, did FD go offline? He did go offline. It ended nothing crazy. Okay. I mean, we covered it yesterday. So if you want to see my coverage on it, be there yesterday. Yeah, I have my thoughts on Bad Empanada. Just subpoena at this point, not an actual case, so Hasan is free to talk about it. I mean, even if there was actually a case, he'd still be free to talk about it unless there was a gag order. The question I think the chatter was asking, like, would it be advantageous for him to talk about it? Like, should Hasan talk about it, right? With him being subpoenaed, like, would it hurt him in any way to talk about it, right? I'd say that like it probably wouldn't hurt him to talk about it, but he probably still shouldn't talk about it, like the intricacies of like what the U.S. government is doing. And I mean, he should probably talk to a lawyer about it. He probably is talking to a lawyer about it. And that's kind of the conversation. Right. So the what that means for y'all is that don't go into Hasan's stream being like, Hasan, tell us about the subpoena. Show it on stream, please. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna. Have we seen the actual subpoena? No, I haven't seen the actual subpoena. And Hasan will talk about it as much as he will talk about it, whether or not he can or should, or he'll just talk about it as much as he wants. You know, that'd be the first comment. Yeah, actually, the first comment would be like, Hasan, I really hope you're okay. Just know we're thinking about you here. If you need to take some time off, just know that we'll stand right behind you. That would be the first comment, and that will make Hasan upset. That's gonna get Hasan to crash out. People being like, Hasan, it's okay to take breaks sometimes. You know we'll be here when you come. You know we'll be here when you come back. Oh, okay, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. You should sue. You should sue. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, that'll get him. That's how you push his buttons. Just telling him to sue the U.S. government. Hasan, you should sue them. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah. Sue the U.S. government for the ballroom. I'd win the ballroom in the divorce. Anyway, I guess we have to see what comes of this. We'll see what Hasan says about it, if anything. But yeah, that's so interesting. Anyway, do I have anything else to talk about? I'm kind of hungry. I'm kind of tired because I streamed yesterday on my second channel a bunch. I covered Bad Empanada. Let me check my bookmarks. I was talking about the ball house shooting. Or we can see what Tabitha is saying about it if you really want to see what Tabitha is saying about it. And we can see like XQC being like Hasan is going to jail, which is like, is this crazy? Like they used to be friends.
Federal officials have served subpoenas the Marxist political influencer Hasan and Code Pink founder as part of what investigation leaders of other U.S. law and sanctions support of Cuba's communist regime. Wait, did this just kick in? Wait, chat, that was 30 minutes ago. Chat, I feel weird. This is chat. Like, it feels a little bit doxy, Loki. Not a fan of it. Chat, is that real?
Well, his title is like Hasan is going to jail. He's like, this feels a little bit doxy, low key. Then his title is like Hasan is going to jail. All caps.
How is socialism different than communism?
Yeah, there's XQC's editors, bro.
Communism is supposed to be the end stage.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, we just have to. You have to kind of wait and see about what this is coming from. I don't think you'll see like CNN covering it though.
We begin this morning with the.
Sorry, I'll be right back.
The man who was killed after shooting near the White House. A bystander was also shot and is in critical condition. An eyewitness captured the sounds of the rapid-fired gunshots there. The Secret Service says it happened near a security checkpoint. The president was at the residence. The White House was immediately placed on lockdown and officers were mobilized. The tense moment of journalists on White House grounds reacting to the threat was also caught on camera.
That President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
That was ABC's Selena Wang. Now, the correspondent was recording a social media video when she heard those shots. She ducked for cover, as you saw.
Julia Binbrook is standing by. Julia, you were there. You had just finished doing a live shot for us when all of this happened. Walk everyone through what you heard, what you saw, and what we're hearing about President Trump, who is there at the White House tonight.
That's right. President Donald Trump was here at the White House as this happened. Secret Service has confirmed he was not impacted by this incident in any way. But as we were standing here, I was speaking with you, Jessica, and had just walked toward the press briefing room, just had opened the door when I heard what appeared to be gunshots, dozens of gunshots. It was this repeated noise, so much so that we thought it might be fireworks at first. And that's when my photographer, Joe Wagner, was out here on the lawn. This is his video right here. As you can see, the reporters who were out here still doing their hits, they were told to move, to get inside quickly, and everyone took off running. You can see Secret Service trying to make sure that the area is secured there on the north lawn. And then as we got inside, we were then on lockdown for about 40 minutes and just a lot of questions about what had taken place. And a very scary moment. We now know that the suspect had taken out a weapon and was shot by Secret Service. We also know that a bystander was shot. It is unclear if those shots came from the suspect or in return fire.
Let's go to CNN's Brian Todd live in D.C. Brian, good morning to you. What have you learned about this gunman and what happened?
Well, Victor, we have new information on the suspect from our colleagues Josh Campbell, Holmes Lybrand, and Evan Perez. They cite 3 law enforcement sources as saying that the suspect is identified as 21-year-old Nazir Best. According to one source, Best did have previous encounters with the Secret Service. Our source is telling us that in June of 2025, he blocked an entry lane at the White House. At that moment, he apparently claimed that he was God, and after that, he was admitted for psychiatric evaluation. A month later, in July of 2025, he was arrested after attempting to enter a White House complex driveway, and a judge ordered him to stay away from the White House grounds. According to our sources, he had also made several statements on social media, including at least one with stating some kind of an intent to harm President Trump. And speaking of President Trump, he did respond to this shooting in a post on Truth Social. Here's part of it. He said, quote, "This event is 1 month removed from the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting and goes to show how important it is."
You don't see the president being attacked? Say hi to the street, Nixie. Look. High five. They do girl so that she's so large. Look at how big she is. She's a big girl. You're a big girl, Nixie. Go up. Ready? Up, Nixie. Up. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Look at her. She's so large. She's a big girl. How old is she now? She's 11 months. Her birthday's in 1 month, almost exactly. It's almost your birthday, Nixie. Okay? Oh, good girl. Good job. You want to lay down? Lay. Lay. Hey. Lay down. Good. Good job, Ducky. Is she going to college? Not yet. Well, she's going to college with me. Or she's going to be enrolled in like a daycare. She's a little baby. She's a big baby. Really big baby. You're a really big baby, Ducky. Or is she going to study in school? What do you want to study in school, Nixie? You want to be a computer scientist? Or you want to do politics? Or you want to do arts? You want to do creative writing? Really? Did y'all hear that? She wants to do that. They said tell them more. What else do you want to do? You wanna write books? Read books? You wanna be an accountant? Really? You wanna be an accountant? Okay, go. Alright. Alright, she wants to go. Come on. All right. Let's see what I missed about this.
The Secret Service says it happened near a security checkpoint. The president was at the residence. The White House was immediately placed on lockdown and officers were mobilized. The tense moment of journalists on White House grounds reacting to the threat was also caught on camera.
That President Trump has said a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
That was ABC's Selena Wang. Now, the correspondent was recording a social media video when she heard those shots. She ducked for cover, as you saw.
Julia Binbrook is standing by.
If I'm being real, she has terrible reflexes. No offense. Like that, she got down by like the 12th shot out of like 30.
Julia, you were there. You had just finished doing a live shot for us when all of this happened. Walk everyone through
I've seen you react,
what you heard, what you saw, and what
I like to imagine I'd be a really strong, and I'd confront the shooter. I'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then say, "Did they tell me what they're doing?" I'd be like, "What a pretty sky we have."
About President Trump, who is there at the White House tonight.
That's right. President Donald Trump was here at the White House as this happened. Secret Service has confirmed he was not impacted by this incident in any way. But as we were standing here, I was speaking with you, Jessica, and had just walked toward the press briefing room.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Hey, you don't do that. No. It would be terrible if what you want to happen happens. Please stop. Immediately cease what you're doing. Guards, seize this man." That's what I would do.
Opened the door when I heard what appeared to be gunshots, dozens of gunshots. It was this repeated noise, so much so that we thought it might be fireworks at first. And that's when my photographer, Joe Wagner, was out here on the lawn. This is his video right here. As you can see, the reporters who were out here still doing their hits, they were told to move, to get inside quickly, and everyone took off running. You can see Secret Service trying to make sure that the area is secured. They're on the north lawn.
Bro, where are the people on top of the White House? I was told there are people on top of the White House. Bro, where are the people on top of the White House? There's nobody up there.
And then as we got inside, we were then on lockdown.
Is there another reporter's reaction is going viral? You can share it. Like, click on it, maybe.
For about 40 minutes, and just a lot of questions about what had taken.
Bro, the society's cooked. Look at this.
Lockdown for about 40.
She's running with her phone up. Journalists! They're no different than like TikTok clout farmers. They are literally no different than TikTok clout farmers. There's a shooting happening in front of them, and they're like, "What? What?"
What is that?
Sounds like fire.
Today, but this obviously comes just a couple of weeks after a shooting at the White House correspondence.
What is that?
Sounds like fire.
Bro, she didn't even get down. At least the other lady had a decent reaction time.
That a deal is close, only for the two sides to remain far apart.
Right? Like, I could imagine, like, there was it took some time for the sound to like travel to like reach her brain from the gunshots. You know, to me the sound was not that fast comparatively to the speed of light or whatever. So I guess that's my cope for her. This other lady's like, what? Y'all hear that? Y'all hear what I'm hearing? That's so cooked. That's so cooked.
40 minutes and just a lot of questions about what had taken place. And a very scary moment. We now know that the suspect had taken out a weapon and was shot by Secret Service. We also know that a bystander was shot. It is unclear if those shots came from the suspect or in return fire.
Did the Secret Service shoot a bystander?
Let's go to CNN's Brian Todd live in D.C. Brian, good morning to you. What have you learned about this gunman and what happened?
Well, Victor, we have new information on the suspect from our colleagues, Josh Campbell, Holmes Library.
Yes, everybody is now this guy.
It's your boy on TikTok. There was just a gunshot at Charlie Kirk. We're in Utah. There's a gunfire. This is not a joke. Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go. Hey, let's go. It's your boy Elder TikTok. There was just a gunfire in Utah. This is not a drill. There is a gunfire in Utah. Shots fired here in Utah. This is not a joke.
Keep in mind, Charlie Kirk was just right there. He was just right there. He might actually even still be there, for all we know. Okay, don't say parts of him. That's crazy.
Charlie Kirk, Elder TikTok, Mormon Central, Utah. There was a gun that just fired off here at Charlie Kirk. I am not playing with y'all. Hey, make sure you go to church on Sunday. Read the Book of Mormon. This is not a drill. I'm not playing with y'all. Hey, Jesus is Lord. Jesus will protect.
I love read the Book of Mormon instead of like read the Bible. Mormons are very funny. They're the funniest section of Christianity.
You. Jesus is your savior, bro. I'm not even lying. Make sure you subscribe to Elder TikTok on Instagram. It's your boy Elder TikTok.
Bro, I can't believe we wasted our like one good political moment on Charlie Kirk. Also, yes, I do remember people were swiping the hats. Elder TikTok then went and started stealing Charlie Kirk's merchandise after everybody else was leaving. I gotta respect that. I do. Right? He sees y'all don't understand his vision, chat. He made this video just so he can like have a pretense for like staying around because he's a journalist, chat. He's like, all right, guys, everybody go. I'm a journalist. I'll capture this. Everybody go. I'm a journalist. Go. I'm a journalist. I'll capture this. Once everybody's gone, he's like, now that they're gone, I'm gonna steal me a couple of hats. I'll take me some hats. I'll take me some lanyards. I'll take me some like some neck protection. I mean, Charlie Kirk should be wearing those.
Brandon and Evan Perez, they cite 3 law enforcement
Probably
sources.
personally signed it too. Yeah, it's like, I have hat stain number 1 and hat stain number 2.
As saying that the suspect is identified as 21-year-old Nazir Best. According to one source, Best did have previous encounters with the Secret Service. Our source is telling us that in June of 2025, he blocked an entry lane at the White House. At that moment, he apparently claimed that he was God, and after that, he was admitted for psychiatric evaluation. A month later, in July of 2025, he was arrested after attempting to enter a White House complex driveway, and the judge ordered him to stay away from the White House grounds. According to our sources, he had also made several statements on social media, including at least one with stating some kind of an intent to harm President Trump. And speaking of President Trump, he did respond to this shooting in a post on Truth Social. Here's part of it. He said, quote, "This event is 1 month removed from the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting and goes to show how important it is for all future presidents to get what will be the most safe and secure space of its kind ever built in Washington, D.C. The national security of our country demands it," end quote, from the president. He's referring, of course, to his construction of the White House ballroom there, which he has emphasized after the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting. That's the best place he believes to have that event. He believes that would be more secure at the White House. Now, taking you down through the scene here, we were here late last night when the police were combing through the scene. Our photojournalist Christine Leon is going to zoom past me down to the scene right there, straight down the block. We're at 18th and Pennsylvania Avenue. The shooting was right down there at 17th and Pennsylvania Avenue. We still have a police...
Yo, can I just say this? Y'all need to wrap this up by August. All right? Y'all need to wrap this up by August. I'm not going to have any of this foolishness when I'm in D.C. All right, y'all need to wrap this up. Whatever y'all got to get done, don't do it, obviously. But, like, none of this is happening in August. Stop. We're wrapping it up. Wrap it up.
Presence. We still have streets cordoned off as a result of the shooting. Now, what I can tell you also is that right to the left of that shooting scene there is Lafayette Park. It's to the left and about a half a block down, Lafayette Square Park. But Lafayette Square Park has been closed off, fenced off because of construction for several months now. Because of that, you cannot enter Lafayette Park, and you can't go in front of the White House as you might usually do on Pennsylvania Avenue. There is an open street there where you can go in front of the White House. But I say all that to tell you that the gunman got about as close as he could to the White House at that point, at that checkpoint there where the gunfire occurred. As Victor mentioned, the bystander...
I don't think grad students can stay indoors. I definitely wouldn't do that even if I wanted to.
Was struck by gunfire. It is unclear whether the bystander was hit by the gunman's initial shots or whether the gunman, the ensuing gunfire was what injured the bystander. The bystander is in critical condition. We hope to get some more information on their condition in the coming hours. Victor?
Brian Todd, live from Washington for us this morning. Brian, thank you for that. We're joined now by CNN law enforcement analyst Jonathan Wackrow, former Secret Service agent and corporate security consultant. Jonathan, good to see you this morning. First, let's just start broadly with your assessment of how Secret Service handled this threat.
Well, good morning, Victor. And what we witnessed yesterday was this immediate action situation by the uniformed division officers of the Secret Service. These are the uniformed police that most often operate right around the White House complex. The situation that they were faced yesterday is something that they train for continuously. Once an armed individual approaches the White House complex or any one of these checkpoints, right where Brian was standing,
what did you think would happen, though? Like, I'm confused.
Is actively firing or presents as an immediate threat. Officers have milliseconds, not minutes, to identify the threat, engage, and then neutralize it. Why? Because just look at the area and the high concentration of public that would be around that area at all times. The White House, I spent 5 years there. The White House remains one of the most symbolically and operationally significant targets in the world. And what we see constantly are people showing up day in and day out, engaging with uniformed division officers who may have they may be some sort of ideologically motivated actor, someone who has mental challenges, or someone that wants notoriety. So when I was at the White House, we constantly knew that this was one of the most high-risk locations in the world. The actions that were taken yesterday by the Secret Service were immediate, and they prevented.
Bro, he just wants his stupid ball house. That's it. He's like, yap, yap, yap. I just want my ball house.
More loss of life in the area. So from my perspective and what I analyze, they did a great job yesterday in identifying and neutralizing this threat before more harm could be caused.
Brian just shared the new reporting about the details about this suspected gunman, Nasir Best, according to several sources. Last July, he was there at the White House, was blocking an entry lane at the White House, claimed he was God, and then returned to the complex driveway. A judge demanded that he stay away from the White House. How common is it for this type of escalation after those earlier incidents?
Well, Victor, this is a very typical profile of somebody who shows up as what we would refer to as a gate caller in the past at the White House. The suspect really his behavior really reflects this clear escalation pattern, which we see in protective intelligence investigations. What I mean by that is those prior encounters demonstrated what we refer to as persistent boundary testing behavior, in which Secret Service see that as a warning indicator in a threat assessment matrix. Those repeated approaches to the White House, in what we saw in what we hear from the reporting is that his behavior was increasingly delusional and grievance driven. That makes a very volatile individual in somebody who's moving down the pathway to violence very quickly, moving from what we would report as fixation initially into this operational action that we saw yesterday that was addressed by the Secret Service.
Fed and medicated. I mean, they killed him. He's dead. So I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know. And it's it's not surprising that this keeps happening, but I don't think this was a serious attempt on Trump's life or anything. Personally. But that's my thoughts. And also that's my that's the stream today. I use the bathroom. I'm tired. So I'm gonna go use my sleep. Nix is downstairs. She left already. I'll tell you said goodbye specifically. Vikings eating, thank you for the 25 months. Much appreciated. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Which was not even in the discussion anymore. Of course not. People have given up on it. I won't be live tomorrow, but I will be live maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Not Thursday. I'm leaving Thursday. But look out for that. What about tonight? I don't know. Maybe something interesting happens. Who knows? Maybe I'll be live on my third channel. Will carry the flame. Is a third? Who knows? Go see Obsession. Who knows? Maybe I have already. I haven't. I thought about it. I heard it was good. But I heard it was scary. I think he's a bathroom. All you do is vague post now? This is true. All I do is vague post. That's it. In conclusion, yes, I saw that Bad Empanada tweeted about me. No, I did not see what he said because I did not care enough to. And 3, he's still blocked. So who cares? And I don't think y'all should care either. That was for the chatter who asked me if I did see it. So let him cry. You know what I mean? Let him cry. What's going on? That's the only thing he ever does. Don't worry, he'll eventually do something else. I don't cry like the baby. What is the baby doing? What's up with the baby? But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go to sleep. And then I'm gonna go play some Magic the Gathering. Bro, I'm getting cooked in Arena, bro. Once I skip past the tutorial, it put me into the big leagues. I'm getting cooked. People are like turn 3. They have their combo set up, and now I'm getting washed. It's rough. Anyway, maybe more Magic on the third channel. Did Crimson Desert recently? You can have a dragon as a mount now. I have not. I have not played any game except for Magic recently. And some Marvel Rivals, which I have to do my second sponsorship for Marvel Rivals eventually at some point. Forget about YouTube. I would never forget about YouTube. But forget about YouTube. Me. Anyway. That is it, and that is all. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. Adios.